Relax now and feel the gentle weight of the day slipping from your shoulders. Take a slow, easy breath in and a long, soft breath out. Allow the air to move in and out like a quiet tide, and notice how your body grows pleasantly heavier with each exhale. Let your hands rest, your jaw soften, and your eyes become pleasantly warm and ready to close when they wish. Feel the room around you, the faint hush, the small sounds you hardly notice, and let them fold you into stillness. Our story today begins in a small lamplit English lane near the river. In the hush of late afternoon, where sunlight pools like honey on cobbles, the scent of wood smoke drifts gentle and reassuring, and the willow leaves on the riverbank whisper slowly, as if telling secrets to the water. Imagine the sound of that river, a calm, steady murmur, and let it match the rhythm of your breathing. Inhale with the river's quiet, exhale with its gentle passing. Picture now a narrow doorway opening into a modest Victorian parlor. Soft curtains stir from a faint draft. A hearth crackles with low, orange light. There is a bowl of linen on a chair, a kettle singing faintly on the stove, and a small glass of warm milk on the side table. The room feels safe, cared for, as if everything here has a place and a purpose. Let this sense of order and quiet wash over you. As we move further into our story, notice small tactile details. The gentle creak of a wooden floorboard, the whisper of a skirt across a chair, the tender click of a clock releasing time one soft beat at a time. Each tiny sound is deliberate and calming. In your mind, trace the delicate patterns of light across the wallpaper, floral vines, slow and winding. And imagine the warmth of the lamp as a gentle hand smoothing the edges of your thoughts. Our tale will wander slowly through small rituals of another age, whispered routines carried out with care. The careful folding of linens, the slow brushing of hair, the warm rinse of a basin of water. These rituals are quiet as breath and steady as the river. Picture them, not as anything hurried or sharp, but as soft, predictable motions that cradle the day to rest. Feel your body settling with these images, each breath softer, each heartbeat calm. Let the story draw you gently onward, deeper into the comforting rhythm of evening, as simple things. A towel, a basin, a warm flame become lullabies. Now, as you rest deeper, imagine yourself standing in that quiet Victorian parlor, the air faintly scented with coal smoke and soap. The fire hums in its grate, and each ember glows like a tiny star, slowly dimming and flaring again, a rhythm to lull your eyes and your breathing. The wooden floor beneath your feet is cool, but a woven rug rests nearby, soft under the toes, patterned with muted reds and browns that seem to tell their own story of years past. In this age, hygiene was not a hurried shower beneath rushing water, but a ritual, slow, deliberate, and often quite modest. Our story sets sail in the evening hours, when water must first be heated over the stove. The kettle hisses quietly, filling the small kitchen with a rolling mist, and someone carefully pours the steaming liquid into a ceramic basin, mixing it with cooler water until it is just right. The warmth rises into the air, carrying with it the faint metallic temps of iron and the clean, simple smell of boiled water. Imagine the touch of a cloth dipped into that basin, warm at first, then soothing as it presses gently against the skin, wiping away the dust of the day, leaving behind a sensation of freshness and comfort. No rushing, no noise, only the slow movements of hands, the quiet drip of water, and the rustle of fabric. Let yourself feel those sensations as though they are your own. The gentle cleansing, the soft comfort, the warmth that lingers on your face and neck like a calming embrace. Round you, the room is still. The ticking of a clock marks the passing of time, unhurried and steady. A cat curls lazily in the corner, its breathing slow and rhythmic, a mirror of your own. The faint flicker of the fire paints the walls in golden shadow, soothing your gaze and inviting your eyelids to grow heavy. The Victorian evening unfolds in such calm, predictable rituals. The combing of hair by lamplight, long and gentle strokes that glisten with a faint shine. The rinsing of hands and wrists, the soft drying on a worn linen towel. Each action is purposeful, yet unhurried. Each sound, the dip of cloth into water, the faint drip back into the basin, the sigh of satisfaction, is like a lullaby guiding the mind further into peace. Let yourself drift deeper with these images. The warmth of the basin, the softness of linen, the glow of firelight, all weaving together into a tapestry of comfort, carrying you calmly into night's embrace. Settle further now, letting the story cradle you. The Victorian home, though modest, is alive with small comforts. The creak of the floorboards, the faint aroma of lavender soap tucked in a drawer, the warmth of wool blankets folded neatly on a chair. Every detail is tender, and every detail brings you closer to calm. Our story continues at the washstand, a humble but essential piece of furniture. Imagine its polished wooden surface, the porcelain basin gleaming in the flicker of candlelight, and a small pitcher standing ready beside it. A soft cloth hangs nearby, slightly rough with wear, yet clean and folded carefully. In the quiet of the evening, this simple station becomes a place of ritual, of care, of gentle restoration. Think of the way water is poured from the pitcher into the basin, the stream catching the glow of the candle, sparkling like liquid gold before settling with a soft splash. The sound is soothing, steady, controlled, deliberate. Fingers dip into the warm water, breaking its stillness, and a cloth is soaked, wrung out gently and pressed to the skin. The warmth spreads across the face, easing away the day's dust, leaving behind a softness, lightness, and a sense of calm renewal. Hair, too, is tended with patience. In this era, bathing the body in full might be rare, but the brushing of hair was nightly, a quiet ritual of health and beauty. Imagine the gentle strokes of a wooden brush gliding through strands, untangling slowly, smoothing, calming. Each stroke produces a faint whisper, a sound like rustling leaves in a summer breeze. Picture yourself sitting by the hearth as the strokes continue, steady and unhurried, lulling you into deeper relaxation. Nearby, soap rests on a small dish. Simple, often handmade, with the scent of herbs or tallow. Carries with it not only the purpose of cleanliness, but also the quiet pride of care. The faint fragrance fills the air, earthy and grounding, reminding you of the simpler, slower pace of life where each act of hygiene was done with thought and patience. And when all is finished, the water in the basin is set aside, the cloths are hung to dry, and the brush is returned to its place. A lamp is lowered, a candle trimmed, and the quiet grows deeper still. You too can feel this winding down, this gentle descent into stillness, as if the very house itself is breathing softly, slowly, ready for sleep. Allow yourself to rest even deeper now, as we linger in the calm glow of the Victorian night. The small washstand has done its work, the basin emptied, the linen cloths gently draped to dry. The room carries the faint warmth of steam, a whisper of lavender soap, and the glowing embers of a coal fire that hums softly in the grate. Each detail, small, ordinary, familiar, becomes a comfort, a reassurance that the world is safe, predictable, and calm. Imagine now the bedroom, modest but inviting. A heavy bedstead of dark wood stands against the wall, its posts carved and steady. Holding a thick mattress stuffed with horsehair or straw, the blankets are heavy, wool, or quilted, and when drawn up, they carry a warmth that presses gently over the body like an embrace. Feel yourself slipping beneath those covers, the coolness of linen sheets giving way to the deeper warmth beneath, cradling you as you lie still. Beside the bed, a small chamber pot rests discreetly within a wooden cabinet. In the Victorian world, nighttime needs were managed with practicality. Though such details were never glamorous, they were simply part of life, part of the rhythm of existence, handled with calm acceptance. Imagine how this practical rhythm made evenings slower, quieter, more deliberate, a time for preparation, care, and eventual stillness. A candle flickers low on the bedside table, its light dim and golden, casting long shadows that sway gently across the walls. The flame moves as though breathing, slow and hypnotic, inviting your eyes to follow its dance until they grow heavy, weary, ready to close. The clock ticks steadily, a patient metronome guiding the house toward rest. Its sound is unchanging, reliable, each tick like a gentle tap on the shoulder, reminding you to relax, to breathe, to drift. Now picture a mother helping her child prepare for bed. She pours a little water from the pitcher, helps to wipe small hands and face with a soft cloth, and gently combs through tangled hair by lamplight. Her voice is hushed, soothing, speaking words of care that blur into lullabies. The child blinks slowly, lids heavy, comforted by these nightly rituals. Imagine yourself in that child's place. Safe, clean, warm, cared for, until sleep folds around you like another blanket. And so, with every detail, with every ritual, the Victorian evening closes its eyes. You too may feel the heaviness in your limbs, the calm settling into your breath as the rhythm of another time carries you into stillness. Now that the fire has dimmed and the house is quieted, imagine the air of the Victorian night settling softly around you. Outside the window, the streets are hushed, lit only by faint gas lamps that flicker like stars close to the ground. The night air is cool, carrying the distant clatter of a carriage wheel or the far-off bark of a dog. But inside, everything is still, cocooned in warmth and comfort. Victorian hygiene was as much about rhythm as it was about necessity. Small routines marked the passage of time. In the morning, hands and faces were washed in cold water, brisk and awakening. In the evening, the ritual was gentler, warmer, designed to soothe and prepare the body for rest. Imagine the careful folding of towels, the soft pouring of water into a basin, the way steam fogs the edges of a small mirror as someone leans close to cleanse their skin. Each sound, each movement carries you deeper into relaxation. Soap, when used, was plain and earthy, often crafted from animal fats or lye. It did not foam in abundance as modern soaps do, but instead it left behind a faint, subtle fragrance. The smell of work done and cleanliness restored. Picture the simple bar resting in a dish, edges softened from many nights of gentle use. When rubbed with water, it produced a thin, creamy lather, just enough to wash away the dust of cobblestones, the soot of coal smoke, and the sweat of a long day. Hair, too, had its own ritual. Without daily bathing, it was brushed and braided carefully to remain neat and healthy. Picture the long strokes of a wooden brush gliding through thick strands of hair, smoothing and taming. The sound is soft, repetitive, like a lullaby played only for the ears. Each stroke untangles not only hair, but also the small knots of the day, leaving the mind lighter, calmer, and ready for slumber. When the tasks were complete, the basin emptied, and the brush set aside, the night grew stiller still. A mother might tuck her children beneath heavy quilts, whispering prayers or gentle words of love. A father might remove his boots, setting them neatly by the hearth, his day's labor finished. The quiet deepened until only the ticking of the clock and the faint breathing of the house remained. Feel yourself lying in that quiet house now, wrapped in wool, the fire fading, the world outside hushed. Each small ritual has washed the day away, leaving only peace, only warmth, only rest. Drift even further now, imagining the quiet of a Victorian night, as though you are truly there. The walls are thick, keeping the cold at bay, though a faint chill lingers near the window panes. Curtains, heavy and lined, are drawn close to block the draft. The candle on the bedside table has burned low, its flames small and gentle, casting soft golden light that flickers against the wallpaper, a soothing dance of light and shadow. The sense of hygiene in this era was not about gleaming perfection, but about order, ritual, and care. In a world without plumbing in every home, water was carried, heated, and used with intention. Picture yourself filling a pitcher from a pump outdoors, the handle squeaking softly as cool water splashes into the container. You carry it carefully indoors, each step deliberate, and pour it into the basin. That very act, so small, carries meaning. It is the beginning of rest, of refreshment, of renewal. Now see the basin filled with warm water, steam rising in delicate curls. A cloth is dipped, wrung out gently, and pressed against tired skin. Imagine the relief of warmth spreading across your face and neck, washing away the dust of the day. The sensation is unhurried, calming, as though time itself has slowed to allow you this care. Every drop of water, every motion of the cloth, invites your body to loosen, your mind to release, your breath to deepen. Close by, the fire murmurs its low, steady tune. Coal shifts with a faint crackle, embers glow like hidden jewels. Their warmth reaches across the room, soft and embracing, a reminder that comfort exists even in the simplest of settings. Let that warmth seep into you now, spreading from your chest outward, down your arms, into your hands, filling you with heaviness and calm. Picture hair being brushed slowly, each stroke steady and deliberate. The wooden bristles whisper through strands, smoothing them in repetition. The sound is almost like the rustle of autumn leaves, soft and rhythmic, drawing you further into a trance of ease. Imagine this being done for you, someone brushing your hair gently by lamplight, caring for you with patience and affection until your head grows heavy, your eyelids droop, and your thoughts dissolve. At last, the basin is emptied, the cloth hung neatly, the brush laid aside. The rituals are finished. The room grows darker, the fire lower, and the night deeper. The house sighs in quiet contentment, and you too are ready to sink into stillness. Imagine now the sound of the house at rest. Its wooden beams settle with gentle creaks, the kind that seem to lull rather than disturb. A clock in the hallway ticks evenly, its hands moving slowly through the night. Each sound is a reminder of the steady passage of time, comforting and unchanging, like a lullaby measured in seconds. The Victorian night was not silent, yet its sounds were gentle and predictable. Outside, the faint clip-clop of a horse-drawn carriage fades into the distance. A watchman's call echoes far down the street, his lantern swaying with every step. Beyond that, only the rustle of wind at the eaves. Only the soft hiss of snow falling, if it is winter, or the chirp of crickets in the summer. These sounds surround the home like a blanket, a quiet barrier between the world and the room where you rest. Within the routines of hygiene leave their afterglow. You can still feel the warmth of the cloth against your skin, the lingering scent of simple soap. Perhaps a faint trace of lavender lingers, tucked into linens or sewn into little sachets that ward off moths. The scent is calming, earthy, a thread that ties you to the rhythms of nature, and it drifts now through your imagination like a soft breeze. For many, a final gesture of cleanliness before sleep was the rinsing of the mouth with water or herbal infusions. Imagine the cool clarity of mint or chamomile, a taste that refreshes and signals the end of the day. It is simple, unadorned, yet profoundly calming. A last ritual before the body surrenders fully to rest. Now picture the bed once more. Heavy quilts press warmly down, tucking you into safety. The mattress may be firm, the sheets cool at first, but soon they mold to the body's warmth, creating a cocoon of comfort. Imagine your head sinking into a feathered pillow, the down shifting gently, supporting you in perfect stillness. The weight of the covers grows more soothing with every breath, as though drawing you deeper and deeper into slumber. The candle guttering low sends its final flicker. Shadows dance lazily on the ceiling before fading as the flame gives way to darkness. The last glow of the hearth softens into a muted ember, humming faintly before falling quiet. The room becomes hushed, almost timeless, a cradle for the dreams waiting to unfold. And you, too, feel yourself crossing that threshold, where waking thought drifts slowly into the gentle current of sleep. Sink deeper still now, as if the heavy quilts of that Victorian bed are wrapping around your very thoughts. Your breathing has grown steady, and in your mind's eye the glow of firelight has faded to a tender ember. Imagine the softness of the pillow beneath your head, the faint rustle of linen sheets when you shift ever so slightly, and the way the darkness of the room feels protective, like the embrace of night itself. In the Victorian age, the rhythms of hygiene stretched far beyond the body. They were woven into the care of garments, linens, and even the spaces of the home. Imagine a mother, by lamplight, shaking out sheets, brushing them with a soft whisk broom to freshen them for another night. The scent of soap lingers faintly in the cloth, mingled with the faint smokiness of the hearth. This was part of the ritual of rest, not hurried, but steady, loving, purposeful. Clothing, too, was tended with care. In homes where water was carried and heated by hand, laundry was not a daily luxury but a weekly labor. Still, at the end of the day, collars were brushed, cuffs wiped clean, stockings hung to air. Imagine the gentle motions. The cloth passing over fabric, the sound of linen snapping softly as it is folded. The quiet pride in setting garments neatly for the morning to come. Even this, too, was a form of hygiene. Cleanliness, expressed in rhythm, in order, in readiness. Now, feel the atmosphere of such a home. The hush after work is done, the satisfaction of small tasks completed. The parlor is darkened, chairs neatly pushed in, The poker rested beside the fire. Upstairs, the beds are waiting, washstands emptied, cloths folded over rails to dry in the night air. The whole house breathes with quiet purpose, as though it, too, is preparing for slumber. Picture yourself lying beneath the blankets, your own body tended with warm water and cloth, your hair brushed smooth, your face clean and soothed. You feel lighter, freer, as if the day has been carefully wiped away. Only calm remains, only warmth, only the quiet companionship of the ticking clock and the whispering wind beyond the window. And as your thoughts grow slower, softer, you can almost hear a voice humming faintly in the distance, a lullaby perhaps, or the soft rhythm of prayer before sleep. It does not matter which. Both are gentle, both are calming, both are meant to guide you into dreams. Let your body soften now, as if you too are settling into that Victorian night. The muscles in your shoulders loosen, your arms rest heavily at your sides, and even your hands grow slack, no longer clinging to anything at all. You are safe here within the story, cocooned in the rhythm of words. Our story drifts onward, deeper into the everyday rituals of hygiene in Victorian times. Imagine the household water jug, filled each morning with cool well water. Simple object, yet essential. For washing faces, brushing teeth with powders of chalk or crushed charcoal, and rinsing the day away. The water was precious, not wasted, and each use was measured with care. Can you picture the sound of water poured gently into a porcelain basin? The echo of droplets against the smooth surface? That soft splash fills the stillness of the early morning, a small ritual that connected the people of the house with the start of the day. Teeth, though rarely brushed in the way we know today, were cared for with powders or simple rinses. Some households mixed mint leaves, salt, or bicarbonate into gritty pastes. Imagine the texture, the faint herbal sharpness, the rough edge of chalk on enamel. Not glamorous, not modern, but ritualistic nonetheless. A small action to feel refreshed, to carry the breath of morning into the hours ahead. Hair, too, carried its own rhythm of care. Washing was rare, sometimes only once every few weeks, for soap was harsh and water heating was laborious. Instead, hair was brushed, 100 strokes each night, the bristles smoothing strands, distributing natural oils. Imagine the sound of that brushing in the quiet of a bedroom. Swish, swish, rhythmic and steady. The sensation was not only cleansing, but deeply calming, a meditation before sleep. The glow of lamplight would shimmer across the hair, reflecting warmth and health. Feel yourself there, watching as the brush glides, as the comb parts the strands. The sound becomes like a lullaby of its own. Steady strokes, each one slower than the last. And with each stroke, the body, the mind, the spirit felt lighter, ready to be carried into dreams. Now, as you rest in this moment, imagine the scents of that age. The faint tints of coal smoke in the air, the sweetness of lavender water sprinkled on linens, and the simple freshness of soap and clean cloth. Together, they weave a fragrance that belongs to the rhythm of Victorian hygiene. Humble, grounding, soothing. Drift a little further, deeper, softer now. Your breathing moves with ease, and your body feels lighter as though it is floating gently upon calm waters. Each word I speak wraps around you like the hush of twilight, guiding you inward, guiding you toward rest. Our story today continues with the quiet mysteries of Victorian hygiene, not just for the body, but for the spaces people inhabited. Imagine the washstand, a common fixture in bedrooms of the era. Small table with a porcelain basin, a pitcher of cool water, and neatly folded cloths. There might be a bar of soap resting in its dish, carved into soft curves by repeated use. Picture the faint sheen of lamplight glimmering off the porcelain. This was the stage upon which nightly rituals were performed, slowly, tenderly, without haste. To cleanse the face, a cloth was dipped into the basin. The sound of water soaking into fabric was soft, soothing like rain against soil. Pressed against the skin, the cloth brought refreshment, washing away dust from horse-drawn streets, soot from chimneys, and the heaviness of the day. Feel it now as though upon your own skin. Cool, pure, cleansing. A touch of simplicity that carried comfort far beyond the physical. Hand-washing, too, became a small act of reverence. Before meals, after chores, or in preparation for rest, hands were rubbed with soap, rinsed with care. Not everyone followed such routines with equal diligence, but those who did understood the pleasure in them. A small, private indulgence of feeling renewed. Imagine the scent of simple soap. Earthy, herbal, faintly sharp. Imagine the satisfaction of drying with a coarse towel, the fabric rough yet grounding. Even the care of nails and skin was a quiet necessity. Without modern creams or lotions, Victorians relied on oils, almond, olive, or even lard softened with herbs. Picture a woman by the fire, dipping her fingertips into a small pot of salve, rubbing it gently into her hands after a long day. The glow of the flames flickers against her skin, the soft circular motions becoming a meditation, her breath steadying as her body thanks her for the moment's attention. And now, as you listen, allow your own hands to feel as though they are being soothed. Imagine them warmed by gentle oil, the skin softened, the tension dissolved. Your shoulders sink deeper into comfort, your thoughts slowing like the dimming of a lantern's flame. Everything becomes quiet, tender, calm, ready to carry you toward dream. Relax more deeply now. Let the air around you feel softer, warmer, as if you are wrapped in the embrace of candlelight and silence. Your thoughts begin to dissolve, floating away like mist, rising from a quiet river at dawn. Each breath you take carries you further into stillness, further into calm. Our story unfolds into the broader rituals of Victorian hygiene. Bathing, though cherished, was not the daily habit we know today. Water had to be heated, carried, and poured into heavy tubs. Often families would share the same bathwater, beginning with the eldest or most honored and ending with the youngest. Imagine the sound of buckets being filled, the slosh of water poured into the tub, steam rising faintly into the cool air of the room. Picture yourself in that scene. The faint scent of soap, the warmth of the water when first drawn, the way it enveloped the body, soothing sore muscles from long days of labor. The crackle of the hearth nearby provided gentle comfort, its glow casting shadows upon the walls. Though rare, the bath was a moment of luxury, a time to feel renewed, cleansed, reborn. For those who could not manage such baths often, sponge washes were common. A basin, a cloth, and patience. Small areas were cleansed with care. The face, the hands, the neck, the feet. Step by step, comfort was restored without the need for great effort. Imagine dipping a cloth into warm water, wringing it out slowly, and pressing it gently against your skin. The sensation is simple, soothing, and deeply refreshing. Hair was treated with equal reverence. Ointments and tonics, often scented with herbs like rosemary or lavender, were rubbed into the scalp. Brushing remained the nightly ritual, each stroke thought to bring health and shine. Imagine a daughter sitting at her mother's feet, her hair falling long and loose as her mother combs and brushes it by firelight. The strokes are steady, unhurried, and the sound of the brush fills the quiet like a lullaby. The girl closes her eyes, drifting close to sleep, comforted by the tender rhythm. Allow yourself to feel that same comfort now. The sensation of care, the intimacy of gentle attention. Each brushstroke becomes like a wave of calm passing through your mind, smoothing away any last ripples of worry. You are lighter, calmer, safer, as though every part of you has been soothed. Breathe in softly now. Let your chest rise and fall in a rhythm that feels natural, steady, like waves lapping gently against a quiet shore. With each exhale, imagine the weight of the day leaving you, drifting away like smoke rising from a chimney into the night air. You are warm, safe, and settled. Our story carries us further into the intimate details of Victorian hygiene. Beyond the bath and the brush, there were small practices woven into daily life. Tiny rituals that made people feel clean, composed, and ready for the day ahead. Consider the care of linens. In the Victorian world, bed sheets and underclothes were thought of as the first layer of hygiene. They were washed more frequently than heavy garments, for they touched the skin directly. Picture a laundry day. Great steaming kettles of water bubbling over a fire. The sharp scent of soap flakes, the rhythmic motion of scrubbing boards. The women hum softly as they work, sleeves rolled high, their movements almost hypnotic. Steam rises into the rafters, and the air is thick with warmth and fragrance. Later, the linens are carried out to dry, flapping on lines in the breeze, crisp and white beneath the sun. Imagine walking past those lines, the fabric snapping gently in the wind, the scent of freshness filling your senses. Cleanliness was also connected to fragrance. Lavender water, rose water, and colognes were sprinkled not only upon the body, but on handkerchiefs, pillows, and even in wash water. Imagine dabbing a droplet of lavender water upon your wrist, its floral sweetness rising to greet you, lingering through the day. Picture a parlor where bowls of dried herbs and petals sit quietly, offering subtle aromas that weave comfort into the air. These scents carried not just beauty, but reassurance, a reminder of care in a world often marked by soot and smoke. Foot care, too, was essential, though often overlooked in grander histories. After long walks through muddy streets, boots were removed, feet washed in small basins, and stockings hung to dry by the fire. Picture the relief of warm water upon tired feet, the sensation of grime dissolving, the comfort of wrapping them in clean wool afterward. Simple act, yet profoundly soothing, grounding, restorative. And now, as you listen, imagine each of these rituals being performed for you. Your linens are fresh, your skin cleansed, your senses bathed in lavender, your feet warm and rested. Everything unnecessary has been brushed away. All that remains is comfort, peace, and the steady rhythm of rest pulling you gently into dreams. Ease into this moment. Notice how the air feels softer, how the sounds around you grow quieter, as though the world itself is tucking you in. With every gentle breath, you let go of tension, and with every word I whisper, you sink deeper into calm, as though the night is carrying you. Our story continues, winding its way into the deeper corners of Victorian hygiene. Beyond the body and the linens, there was the home itself, cared for, not only for health, but for the sense of order and comfort it brought. Imagine the sweeping of floors with stiff bristled brooms, the daily dusting of furniture with soft cloths. The sound of bristles against wood was rhythmic, grounding, almost musical. Ash was swept from the hearth, leaving the fireplace ready for its next warming glow. Windows, when opened, allowed fresh air to drift through rooms, though in crowded cities the air carried soot and smoke. Still, the act of airing rooms was believed to bring health, to chase away staleness. Picture curtains billowing gently, pale fabric glowing in morning light, a soft breeze whispering against your skin. That breeze carries with it a sense of renewal, a small promise of cleanliness and well-being. Personal grooming was part of this wider order. Men often visited barbers not only for shaving, but for hair tonics and scalp massages. Imagine the steady scrape of a straight razor, the warmth of a cloth pressed against the face, the faint aroma of bay rum aftershave. Ritual of renewal, of setting oneself straight for the day. Women, too, found solace in their quiet routines, pinning hair carefully, smoothing skirts, dabbing wrists with floral water. Each gesture, however small, gave a sense of composure. In rural homes, hygiene was intertwined with nature itself. Streams provided water for bathing, herbs for cleansing, ashes for soap making. Imagine gathering lavender from the garden, rosemary sprigs from the hedge, or mint leaves from the earth. These were tied into bundles, dried above kitchen hearths, later crushed into powders and infusions. The scents of herbs filled the home, softening the labor of daily chores. Now, allow yourself to imagine your own space being cared for with that same gentle rhythm. Floors swept, air refreshed, linens crisp, your body brushed and bathed in soft herbal fragrance. Everything neat, everything calm, everything placed in harmony. You rest not only in your body, but in a whole world that feels tended and safe. Breathe slowly now, and picture the hush of a Victorian evening drawing to a close. The oil lamps are dimmed, the fire is fading to gentle embers, and the entire house seems to sigh with relief after the day's routines. Your mind, too, is like that house letting go, settling into stillness, preparing for the sweetness of rest. Our story drifts deeper into the rituals of cleanliness that shaped life in that era. Think of the washrooms that wealthier homes maintained with marble basins and tiled floors. These were luxuries, rare and admired. The sound of water trickling from a jug into a basin was almost sacred in its quietness, marking the moment of renewal. A servant might bring in warmed water, place folded cloths neatly nearby, and leave the master or mistress of the home to their ritual. For most, though, such luxuries were dreams, glimpsed only in the parlors of the rich or in illustrations from magazines. Yet even the simplest cottages held to their own rhythms. On Saturday evenings, families often prepared themselves for Sunday, the day of rest. This meant cleaning not only clothing and boots, but bodies and hair. Imagine a mother heating kettles of water on the stove, children lining up for their turn to wash at the basin. Laughter might mingle with the splash of water, the scent of soap clinging to the air. Even this humble simple was an act of dignity, of care, of beginning a new week fresh and clean. In towns and cities, public bathhouses offered another form of hygiene. For a small fee, people could soak in hot water, wash away soot and grime, and enjoy the rare comfort of privacy. Imagine the echoing halls, steam rising from great tubs, voices hushed out of respect for the space. A man leans back, closing his eyes, feeling warmth sink into tired muscles. A woman combs her hair, steam curling around her face, letting herself forget the noise of the outside world. The bathhouse was not only cleansing but healing, a quiet refuge. And so you see, Victorian hygiene was not merely about survival. It was about rhythm, ritual, and the simple comforts that carried people from one day to the next. Just as you hear now, sink deeper into your own ritual of rest. Your breathing slows, your thoughts soften, and all around you feels carefully tended, lovingly prepared, like the close of a long, gentle day. Relax deeper now. Feel as though your body is resting in a cocoon of softness, safe and warm, drifting as though you were floating on calm waters under a silver moon. Every word brings you further into stillness. Every image softens your thoughts, guiding you toward peace. Our story continues into the finer details of Victorian hygiene. Small tools and objects that shaped the daily experience of cleanliness. Imagine the soap dish, porcelain and curved, always resting by the washstand. Within it, a bar of soap, worn smooth by repeated use, edges rounded, a faint scent of lye or herbs clinging to the air. Each morning and evening, this simple bar carried with it the promise of renewal. Tooth powders, too, were kept in small tins or glass jars. Chalk, charcoal, or crushed seashells mixed with mint leaves, or even ground clove. Imagine dipping a small brush, or rubbing a fingertip with the powder, the gritty texture brushing against enamel. Not glamorous, but refreshing, leaving a faint herbal sharpness on the breath. Quiet ritual of dignity, often performed by candlelight before sleep. Combs and brushes were treasured items, often made of bone or wood, sometimes with decorative engravings. A brush was more than a tool. It was a companion, passed down through generations, its bristles softened by years of use. Imagine the sound of brushing in a quiet bedroom, the steady rhythm filling the still air, soothing both scalp and spirit. The act was unhurried, patient, as much about comfort as it was about cleanliness. Even handkerchiefs were part of hygiene. Worn close, folded neatly in pockets or tucked into sleeves, they carried fragrance, wiped brows, or freshened faces. Many were dabbed with cologne or lavender water, leaving a faint trace of scent wherever they were carried. Imagine unfolding such a handkerchief, crisp linen, soft against the skin, carrying the comfort of familiarity. And beneath it all was the philosophy that order and care reflected not only upon the body, but upon the spirit. A person who tended to themselves with neatness was thought to carry inner calm, a harmony visible to others. In each brushed lock of hair, in each freshened collar, in each wash of hands, there was a quiet poetry, a rhythm of being present in the world with grace. Now, as you rest, imagine these same tools gently tending to you. A warm cloth against your face, a comb gliding through your hair, a soft fragrance lingering around you. With each imagined touch, your body releases more tension, more heaviness. All that remains is ease, comfort, and the quiet pull of dreams. Let yourself drift a little further now. Your breath flows like a tide, steady, calm, unhurried. The weight of your body melts into the surface beneath you as though you were being held by the earth itself, supported in perfect stillness. Every word you hear draws you deeper into this sanctuary of rest. Our story wanders now into the realm of scents and sensations, the subtle fragrances that wrapped around Victorian hygiene rituals. Imagine rosewater, carefully distilled, poured poured into small glass bottles. A few drops were dabbed upon the skin, cool and refreshing, leaving behind the soft sweetness of petals. Lavender water, too, was beloved, sprinkled upon linens to encourage calm, or upon hair to refresh between rare washes. Breathe it in your imagination. The floral sharpness, light and airy, a fragrance both soothing and pure. There were stronger scents as well. Bay rum for men, with its warm, spicy edge, or vinegar rinses for hair, leaving strands glossy and light. Imagine sitting by a window, combing through damp hair, scented faintly of herbs. The breeze carrying away the vinegar temps, leaving only freshness. These scents, though humble, created an invisible aura, a cloak of dignity, that carried through the day. Cleanliness was not only about the body, but about impressions. Shoes were polished until they gleamed, hands washed before meals, collars starched crisp and white. Picture the care of boots after a day's walk through muddy streets, leather wiped clean, polished with oils until they reflected the glow of lamplight. The simple act of shining shoes became another form of ritual, restoring order after the chaos of the day. And in the intimacy of the home, families found comfort in shared rituals of hygiene. A mother wiping a child's face with a damp cloth, a father teaching his son to brush hair neatly, sisters helping one another lace clean undergarments. These moments were not only practical but tender, weaving bonds of care and closeness. Now imagine those same gestures being offered to you. A warm cloth pressed gently against your face, a hand smoothing your hair, linens tucked around you with quiet love. You feel tended to, cared for, cherished, just as Victorians once found comfort in these humble acts of hygiene. Let that comfort wrap around you now as your breathing slows even more as your body grows heavier with rest. You are safe, you are warm. You are clean and whole, carried gently toward dreams. Drift a little deeper now. The sound of my voice be like the steady ticking of a Victorian clock in a quiet parlor. Calm, reliable, always moving forward, but never rushed. With every breath, you sink into the warmth of stillness, as though night itself has drawn a soft blanket around you. Our story flows onward into the rhythms of public life in Victorian times, how hygiene shaped not only the home, but the way people presented themselves to the world. Imagine a crowded London street in the late 1800s. Horses clop steadily along cobblestones, their hooves echoing through narrow lanes. Carriages roll past, leaving trails of dust and manure. Chimneys belch smoke, and the air is thick with soot. In such a world, to step outside was to invite grime and filth upon one's clothing and skin. And so rituals of cleanliness were more than preference. They were necessity. Gentlemen carried walking sticks not only as symbols of status, but to navigate the muck of streets. Handkerchiefs perfumed with lavender or rose were raised discreetly to noses, shielding against foul smells. Picture a woman lifting her embroidered handkerchief, the faint scent of violets mingling with the heavy city air, offering a private pocket of calm amid the bustle. Bathhouses, washhouses, and even public fountains became havens for refreshment. Imagine entering a tiled bathhouse, the sound of water splashing echoing across high ceilings. Steam drifts slowly, softening the air. The outside world fades away, replaced by the soothing rhythm of cleansing water. People left not only with cleaner bodies, but with spirits lightened, carrying a new energy back into the crowded streets. Even in small villages, hygiene tied communities together. Washing days were communal events, with neighbors lending one another tubs, soap, or strong arms to wring wet linens. Imagine the laughter and conversation rising above the slap of fabric against washboards, the clatter of buckets being filled, the creak of drying lines strung between trees. In these simple tasks, bonds were strengthened and life felt more manageable. Now, bring this feeling inward. Imagine that you, too, have stepped in from the dusty street. Your boots are polished clean, your hands washed in fresh water, your face cooled with lavender. The grime of the outside world dissolves, leaving only the purity of care, the dignity of ritual, the lightness of renewal. And as you rest here, you realize cleanliness was not merely about soap and water. It was about shedding heaviness, about returning to stillness, about finding peace after the day's labors. Just as you are finding peace now, breathe softly. Imagine the air itself feels warmer, smoother, as though it has been filtered through lace curtains and warmed by the glow of firelight. Each inhale fills you with calm, and each exhale releases the last threads of tension. You are safe, wrapped in this moment, carried by the rhythm of story. Our journey into Victorian hygiene brings us now to the world of clothing. Not only garments themselves, but the way they were cared for as part of daily cleanliness. Imagine a crisp white collar, starched and gleaming in the lamplight. For men, the state of one's collar and cuffs was a mark of respectability. Even if full baths were rare, changing into clean undergarments and fresh collars created the impression of order, neatness, and self-respect. Laundry was no small task. Picture great tubs of boiling water, soap flakes dissolving into frothy foam, and women leaning over washboards, scrubbing with steady rhythm. The air is filled with steam, dampness clings to the skin, and the scent of soap is sharp and fresh. Later, linens and shirts are wrung out, then pegged to wooden lines, swaying gently in the countryside breeze. Imagine standing among them, cloth snapping softly in the wind, a dance of fabric against sky. Undergarments worn closest to the skin were changed more frequently than heavy outerwear. This practice kept bodies fresher and extended the life of outer clothing. Imagine soft cotton chemises, crisp drawers, clean stockings, each freshly laundered, smelling faintly of sun and soap. To slip into them was to feel comforted, composed, renewed. Shoes, too, were cared for with almost ceremonial attention. After long walks through muddy streets, boots were scrubbed, dried, and polished until they shone once again. Picture the slow motion of polishing cloth over leather, circular strokes bringing dullness back to life. The soft creak of leather, the earthy scent of polish, and the pride in restored order all carried their own quiet satisfaction. Even accessories played their part. Gloves kept hands clean, parasols shielded skin, and hats prevented dust from settling in hair. Every layer served as both fashion and protection, keeping the body insulated from the grime of the outside world. And now, imagine yourself clothed in such cleanliness. Fresh linen against your skin, polished boots resting by your bed, a soft fragrance lingering from lavender stored in drawers. Every detail contributes to a sense of harmony, of quiet dignity. Feel composed, at ease, cared for. Let this sensation sink deeper into your body, just as the Victorians once leaned into their nightly rituals. Clean, soothed, and wrapped in comfort, you are ready to drift toward dreams. Let yourself settle even deeper now, your breath flowing like the slow swing of a pendulum, steady and sure. With every exhale, the weight of thought drifts away, and with every inhale, you draw in quiet, gentle ease. The night holds you softly, as though it has been waiting just for you. Our story continues, guiding us into the realm of skincare and complexion, a delicate part of Victorian hygiene. In a time before modern cosmetics, beauty and cleanliness were intertwined with nature and ritual. Women often used simple remedies to keep their skin fresh. Rose water as a tonic, oatmeal as a gentle cleanser, honey as a softening balm. Imagine sitting at a dressing table, a porcelain bowl of rose water nearby. A soft cloth is dipped, then pressed lightly against the face. The coolness awakens the skin, and the scent of roses lingers like a whisper of gardens in bloom. Powders were applied not only for beauty, but for the feeling of cleanliness. Rice powder, finely ground, was brushed across the face to create a matte, pale complexion. Imagine the delicate motion of a brush sweeping over skin, feather-light, leaving behind a smooth, velvety finish. A ritual not rushed but unhurried, quiet, graceful. A moment of calm in the midst of daily demands. For men, shaving was both practical and ceremonial. Warm water was poured into a basin, a brush swirled in soap until frothy, and the lather applied with slow, circular motions. Picture the scent of bay rum or sandalwood, the soft scrape of a razor, the soothing heat of a towel pressed against the face. The ritual was more than grooming. It was an act of self-care, a grounding moment before facing the day. Children, too, were drawn into hygiene practices from an early age. Mothers washed small faces with warm cloths, combed fine hair, and rubbed salves into dry skin. Imagine the gentle hands of care, the soft laughter of little ones, and the warmth of family closeness. Hygiene was not only practical but an expression of love, of tending, of nurturing. Now, Imagine each of these rituals being performed for you. The cloth cool against your brow, a gentle brush sweeping across your skin, the faint scent of herbs and flowers wrapping around you. With each sensation, your body grows heavier, your thoughts lighter, your spirit calmer. Like the Victorians who ended their days with these quiet acts, you too are drawing near to the stillness of night, where all is washed away and only peace remains. Relax even more deeply now, as if every breath carries you further down into soft cushions, as if the bed itself were an endless meadow of calm. You are safe, warm, and surrounded by the gentle hush of history, whispering its stories into your ear. Our story today drifts onward into the subject of Victorian baths. Bathing was not always an everyday act. For many, it was a weekly ritual, sometimes even less frequent. Yet when the time came, the preparation was almost ceremonial. Imagine a large freestanding tub, often made of tin or copper, placed near the hearth. Hot water was carried by pailfuls, steam rising in gentle curls as the tub slowly filled. Picture yourself stepping into that warmth. The water, though simple, feels like luxury after a long day. The fire crackles nearby, casting flickering shadows on the walls. You sink lower into the water, feeling it cradle your body, washing away fatigue. Soap, often coarse but scented faintly of lye or lavender, is rubbed between hands, the lather thick and comforting. The sensation of cleansing is not rushed, but slow, deliberate. Every movement a release of tension. In wealthier homes, baths were infused with additions, perhaps a few drops of rosemary oil, or the steeping of chamomile flowers, their fragrance curling through the steam. The effect was not unlike today's spa treatments, though simpler in essence. You can imagine the aroma filling the room, mingling with the faint wood smoke of the hearth. Children were often bathed together, splashing and giggling in the warmth, their laughter echoing against the walls. Mothers would gently pour water over their heads, the droplets running like silver rivulets down soft hair and rosy cheeks. A tender scene of innocence, where hygiene was entwined with affection. In boarding houses and city flats, however, bathing could be more challenging. Water had to be fetched, fires stoked, and tubs shared. Imagine the clatter of buckets, the creak of floorboards as tenants moved about, the voices murmuring softly in dim corridors. Even in such humble circumstances, the bath was a moment of pause, a retreat from the clamor of the city outside. As you listen, allow yourself to imagine stepping into such a bath, the water surrounding you, the warmth loosening every muscle, the flickering firelight dancing across the room. Feel the heaviness of your body as it surrenders to comfort, your mind emptying like water draining slowly away, leaving only clarity and stillness. In this imagined bath, there is no rush, no expectation, only the timeless rhythm of relaxation, just as it was long ago. Breathe gently now. Feel the air moving in and out, slow as the turning of a page. With each inhale, imagine warmth filling your chest, and with each exhale, imagine any burden dissolving into the quiet night. You are calm, steady, and entirely at ease. Our story continues by stepping into the streets of Victorian cities, where public baths and washhouses became small sanctuaries of cleanliness for those who did not have tubs of their own. These buildings, often constructed with civic pride, were places where workers, families, and travelers could wash away the dust and weariness of daily life. Imagine approaching such a place on a brisk evening. The chill of the air clings to your coat, but as you step inside, you are greeted with a wave of warmth, the scent of soap, and the echo of water against stone. The tiled floors shine faintly, the walls resonate with muffled splashes and quiet conversations. Here, cleanliness was shared, communal, a moment of humanity among neighbors and strangers alike. In these halls, men and women were separated. Each space filled with the sound of pouring water, the scraping of brushes, and the sighs of relief as heat soaked into tired muscles. Some came hurriedly, eager to wash quickly and return to their lives, while others lingered, savoring the rare luxury of warm water in unhurried time. Imagine yourself sitting on a wooden bench, steam swirling softly around you, droplets glistening like pearls on the tiles. You dip a ladle into a basin, pour the warm water slowly over your arms, your shoulders, your hair. Each stream feels like a gentle hand soothing you, washing away not only dust but the weight of thoughts. For many Victorians, these baths represented progress, a step toward healthier living in cities crowded with smoke and soot. And yet for the individual, they were something more intimate, a ritual of renewal. A chance to feel human again in a world that often demanded much and gave little rest. As you sit within this imagined washhouse, close your eyes and feel the warmth envelop you. Hear the quiet drip of water, the low murmur of voices fading into nothingness. You are part of the scene, yet entirely at peace within yourself. The history of their world blends into your own calm, reminding you that even in the busiest times, moments of care and cleansing can always be found. Settle even deeper now, as though you are lying beneath layers of soft quilts, each one tucking you further into warmth, further into safety. Let your body sink, let your breath slow, let your thoughts wander gently like leaves floating upon a stream. Our story carries us next into the world of hair care in the Victorian age. Cleanliness was not only about skin and baths, but also about the grooming of long flowing locks. Imagine the gentle rhythm of a brush being drawn through strands of hair again and again until the shine gleams in the dim candlelight. This ritual was quiet, soothing, almost meditative, and often shared between mothers, daughters, and sisters. Picture yourself seated before a mirror framed in dark wood. A brush with natural bristles rests in your hand. Each stroke pulls smoothly from root to tip, creating not only neatness, but a kind of tranquility. The sound of bristles gliding through hair is soft, steady, reassuring. A sound that invites calm, like rain pattering against the window. Hair was washed less often than we do today, sometimes only once every few weeks. Instead, powders were sprinkled into the roots to absorb oils, then brushed out, leaving the hair refreshed. Imagine the faint scent of lavender or orris root rising with each motion, the fragrance drifting like a veil through the air. It was a method both practical and comforting, simple yet effective. For women, elaborate hairstyles were a sign of refinement, yet the act of tending to hair in private was far more intimate. Combing, braiding, pinning, these acts became rituals of care, moments of patience in a world that was often hurried. And in quieter households, these moments were shared between family members. A mother carefully plaiting her child's hair, or a sister helping another to fasten pins before an evening out. Men, too, tended carefully to their hair and beards. Pomades made of wax and oils were used to smooth and shape. Imagine the faint gleam of lamplight on a comb as it passes through hair, the gentle scent of beeswax mingling with sandalwood. These scents, simple and natural, clung faintly to the air, wrapping the room in an aura of calm presence. As you imagine these scenes, let yourself feel the gentle rhythm of care, the brush through the hair, the comb against the scalp, the soothing patience of someone tending to you with soft hands. Each motion slows your breath, each imagined touch brings ease. You are brushed into stillness, combed into peace, pinned securely into rest. Let your eyes grow heavy now. Feel the weight of restfulness tugging gently at your lashes, as though the night itself is encouraging you to drift deeper. Your breath moves in steady waves, carrying you softly toward dreams, carrying you softly into stillness. Our story drifts further into the Victorian world of clothing hygiene. For the people of that era, caring for garments was as essential as caring for the body. Imagine heavy dresses of wool or silk, trousers of coarse fabric, crisp linen shirts and underclothes. These garments absorb the dust of city streets, the scent of hearth smoke, the traces of daily life. And so, they required careful, rhythmic cleaning. Laundry days were demanding. Families often set aside 1 or 2 days of the week solely for this task. Picture a courtyard where tubs of water are steaming, soap shavings floating on the surface, wooden washboards leaning nearby. Women dipped garments into the water, then scrubbed them with slow, firm strokes. The sound of fabric against board, rhythmic and steady, almost like a heartbeat. The air would be filled with scents. Lye soap, wet cloth, the faint temps of smoke from the fire heating more water. Imagine yourself there, listening to the splashing of water, the hum of conversation as neighbors and family worked side by side. It was labor, yes, but it was also community. Clothes were rinsed in cool water, wrung by hand, then hung upon lines strung between posts or across narrow yards. Imagine rows of garments billowing gently in the breeze, the cloth snapping softly, drying under the pale light of a Victorian sky. Fresh air carried away lingering scents, leaving behind a feeling of crispness and renewal. Even undergarments, the chemises, drawers, and stockings of daily wear, were scrubbed with special care. These were closest to the skin, and Victorians took hygiene seriously when it came to such garments. Imagine the care with which each piece was handled, the satisfaction of seeing them clean and white once more. In wealthier homes, laundresses carried out this work with dedication. Their hands reddened by soap and water, their arms strong from lifting and wringing. Yet there was pride in the task, for clean clothing was a mark of respectability, a sign of order and care. Picture yourself now, standing in that courtyard, watching clothes sway on the line. The rhythm of laundry day is past, and the evening grows quiet. The fabric rustles softly in the breeze, like a lullaby whispered by the wind. Each sound draws you deeper into calm, deeper into the gentle embrace of rest. Feel yourself loosening now, as if every fiber of your body is unwinding, every thought gently dissolving. The quiet hum of history surrounds you, steady and soothing, like the low crackle of a hearth in the stillness of night. You are safe, you are calm, you are being carried gently into slumber. Our story turns now toward the matter of linens and bedding in the Victorian household. Another part of hygiene often overlooked, yet deeply important. Imagine a bedroom lit by a single candle, its flame flickering softly against patterned wallpaper. The bed is large, piled with mattresses, feather pillows, and quilts. Beneath the covers, sheets of linen or cotton rest, cool against the skin. These sheets were not changed as often as in modern times, but still, families recognized the importance of freshness. Laundering sheets was a laborious affair. Large pieces of cloth boiled in cauldrons, stirred with wooden paddles, then rinsed and wrung before being hung to dry. Imagine the steam rising, curling into the air, filling the room with a damp warmth. The scent of soap mingled with smoke from the fire, clinging faintly to the fabric. Once dried in the open air, the sheets carried with them the fragrance of the outdoors. Picture linens flapping gently in a countryside breeze, touched by the scent of grass, of distant flowers, of clean wind. When brought indoors and spread across the bed once again, they offered a subtle reassurance, a sense of comfort, of being well cared for. Pillows and featherbeds were beaten regularly to remove dust. Imagine the soft thud of a hand patting a pillow, the feathers shifting within, plumping and rising to provide rest. The act itself was rhythmic, almost hypnotic, a sound that could lull even the most restless mind into stillness. In wealthier homes, bed curtains and coverlets were brushed and shaken, their fabrics heavy with brocade or velvet. In humbler cottages, quilts stitched by hand carried warmth through cold nights. Each stitch, each thread, was a sign of love and labor. Picture yourself lying beneath such a quilt now, its weight comforting, its warmth surrounding you like a gentle embrace. Clean bedding was not only about hygiene, but also about peace of mind. The Victorians knew the value of resting in a bed that smelled of fresh air and felt newly smoothed. Imagine yourself slipping beneath those sheets, the coolness against your skin, the faint scent of lavender tucked into the folds. The world outside fades, and only rest remains. Allow yourself to drift even further now, deeper into the calm, deeper into the quiet. Each breath carries you toward softness, each heartbeat steadier and slower, like footsteps echoing faintly down a long, peaceful hall. Our story moves onward into the realm of oral hygiene in the Victorian age. Today we take for granted the ease of toothpaste tubes and electric brushes. But in that era, the rituals were simpler, yet no less important. Imagine a small tin of tooth powder resting upon a washstand, its lid worn smooth from frequent use. Inside, a mixture of chalk, salt, and crushed herbs awaits. The powder was dabbed onto a damp brush, sometimes made of bone or wood, with stiff bristles, and then worked across the teeth. The taste was often sharp, salty, or bitter, but it left the mouth refreshed. Imagine the sensation, the granules brushing against enamel, the coolness of mint, or the temps of charcoal lingering faintly. For many, rinsing came from a cup of water kept nearby, lifted to the lips, swirled and spat into a basin. In wealthier homes, mouthwashes infused with herbs or alcohol were used, their scent brisk and invigorating. Picture the aroma of cloves, cinnamon, or peppermint rising gently, leaving the breath cool and the mouth cleansed. Children learn these habits early, guided by parents who valued cleanliness as a mark of discipline and respectability. Imagine a mother leaning down, guiding her child's small hand as they dipped the brush into powder, then showing them the circular motion needed to clean properly. A scene both tender and practical, teaching hygiene as a part of daily life. For those less fortunate, oral care might be as simple as rubbing teeth with a cloth dipped in salt or soda. Rough but effective enough. And yet, even in these modest methods, there was comfort in the ritual, a sense of starting the day with freshness, of ending it with clarity. Picture yourself now, standing before a simple washstand, dipping a brush into powder. The grains press lightly against your teeth, the scent of herbs filling your nose. The cool water swirling and rinsing, leaving your mouth refreshed. There is a lightness afterward, a clean simplicity that brings calm. As the Victorians knew, caring for the mouth was caring for the self, and in that small act of ritual, there was peace. A moment of pause. A gentle reminder that even the smallest routines could bring balance to the day and comfort to the night. Let your breath carry you deeper still. Inhale gently, exhale slowly, like waves retreating from the shore. Your body grows heavier, your mind lighter, until all that remains is this soft, quiet story unfolding around you. We turn now to the care of hands and nails in the Victorian age, a detail of hygiene often overlooked, yet deeply significant. Hands were the most visible tools of daily life. They bore the marks of labor, of writing, of sewing, of greeting others with a handshake or a gentle gesture. To keep them clean was both practical and social. Imagine a basin of warm water set upon a small wooden table. Into the water, a handful of soap shavings has been stirred, their froth rising like small white clouds. A person dips their hands into the basin, the warmth wrapping around tired fingers, the lather softening roughness. Slowly, they rub the palms together, the suds slipping between fingers, cleansing away the dust of the day. Nails were trimmed with simple tools, sometimes small scissors or knives, shaped carefully and rubbed smooth with pumice. Imagine the steady rhythm of filing. Gentle, patient, almost meditative. Each motion brings neatness. Each motion brings quiet. The sharp edge softens, the curve becomes smooth, and the hands take on an air of care. Lotions made of glycerin, rosewater, or almond oil were often used to soften the skin. Picture a few drops poured into the palm, rubbed slowly across the back of the hands, the scent rising sweet and floral. The oil glistens in lamplight before sinking into the skin, leaving behind a faint sheen, a lingering fragrance. For women, soft hands were a mark of refinement, while roughened hands often told of labor. Yet even the most hard-working hands could find relief in these simple rituals. Imagine a laundress, her palms reddened from scrubbing, dipping her fingers into warm oil at the end of the day, sighing as the tightness loosens and the soreness fades. Children were often reminded to wash their hands before meals, a practice both for health and for discipline. Picture a small child standing at a basin, splashing water clumsily, giggling as droplets scatter across the floor. A parent gently corrects them, teaching the rhythm of lather and rinse. Lather and rinse. Lessons that carried forward into adulthood. Now, picture your own hands. Imagine them dipped into warm water, then dried gently with a soft cloth. The nails shaped, the skin soothed with fragrant oil. Feel the comfort of care, the calmness of routine, the serenity that comes when even the smallest parts of yourself are tended to. You are whole, you are cared for, you are at peace. Breathe softly, slower now, as if each inhale gathers the gentle quiet of the night, and each exhale releases every last trace of tension. Feel your body melting into stillness, as though gravity itself were cradling you in its arms. Our story drifts further into the realm of scents and perfumes, an essential element of Victorian hygiene and refinement. While bathing and washing were not as frequent as in modern times, fragrance was a way to maintain freshness, to feel composed, and to present oneself with dignity. Imagine a small glass bottle resting on a vanity, its surface catching the glow of candlelight. Inside, a mixture of floral essences, oils, and alcohol swirls, awaiting its use. A stopper is lifted, and a few drops are pressed gently onto the wrists, behind the ears, along the collar. Instantly, the air is touched with rose, violet, or lilac, scents that linger softly, like whispers of gardens in bloom. For men, colognes carried brisker notes, lavender, citrus, or sandalwood. Imagine the faint trail left behind as someone passed through a parlor, the air warmed by firelight, yet freshened by the lingering sharpness of herbs and woods. It was a quiet announcement of presence, a mark of care without a word spoken. In modest homes, perfumes were often homemade. Families steeped herbs, flowers, or citrus peels in alcohol, creating simple scents that carried the fragrance of their gardens. Picture a kitchen table where a jar rests, filled with sprigs of rosemary or lavender, slowly releasing their essence into the liquid. Days later, the jar is opened, and the aroma escapes, clean and comforting. Perfumes were not merely decoration. They carried a sense of hygiene, a way of masking the odors of coal smoke, horse-drawn streets, or close quarters of city living. Imagine walking through a Victorian street, the air heavy with soot, the bustle of people all around. Then picture stepping into a drawing room, where the faint sweetness of violets or the crisp sharpness of citrus cleanses the air, wrapping you in a bubble of calm. Scent also carried memory. A whiff of rosewater might recall a mother's touch. The hint of sandalwood might recall evenings by the hearth. For Victorians, fragrance was not only about cleanliness, but also about connection. It's about weaving small threads of comfort into daily life. Now, imagine the soft fragrance of lavender filling the air around you. Each breath carries it deeper into your body, calming you, settling you. The scent soothes your mind like a lullaby, guiding you ever closer to sleep. Let your body sink further now, deeper into the cushions beneath you, deeper into the stillness of this moment. Each breath is like a soft wave upon the shore, washing gently, returning calmly, endless and soothing. You are safe, you are steady, you are deeply relaxed. Our story continues with the subject of Victorian feet and footwear hygiene, a detail both practical and quietly comforting. In an age when streets were often muddy, uneven, and filled with dust or soot, caring for the feet was essential. Imagine removing heavy leather boots at the end of a long day. The soles are worn, the laces slightly frayed, the faint scent of earth clinging to them. As they are set aside, the relief in the feet is immediate, as though the body itself sighs in gratitude. Warm water was often prepared in basins for soaking. Picture a simple wooden tub filled with steaming water, perhaps infused with herbs like sage or peppermint. A pair of tired feet are lowered in, the warmth enveloping them completely. The ache eases, the stiffness softens, and comfort flows upward through the body. After soaking, feet were dried with care. A coarse towel rubbed them briskly, restoring circulation, bringing warmth. Its nails were trimmed, rough patches smoothed with pumice. Imagine the gentle scrape of stone against skin, steady and unhurried. The act is not harsh but healing, a rhythm of self-care that was repeated week after week. Socks and stockings were changed frequently, for fresh fabric against the skin was vital. Picture the softness of clean wool stockings drawn over freshly washed feet, their warmth sealing in comfort, their snugness grounding the body. Shoes were brushed and polished, leather treated with oils to keep them supple. The shine reflected not only light, but also pride, in appearance, in readiness, in care. For children, feet were often tended by parents who checked for proper growth, warmed them by the fire on cold evenings, wrapped them in extra cloth during harsh winters. Imagine a mother kneeling by the hearth, gently rubbing her child's small feet with oil, the flames casting golden light across the room. The child sighs, soothed, eyes growing heavy, comforted by warmth and care. Even in grander homes, the ritual of removing boots at the day's end was universal. Imagine yourself sitting in a quiet chamber, unfastening laces, pulling off shoes, and slipping your feet into warmth. Relief spreads instantly, a deep exhale, a release of tension. You picture this, feel your own feet relaxing, loosening, as though immersed in warm water. They soften, they rest, they grow lighter, and with them, the whole body follows into peace. Let the quiet wrap around you now, as though the night itself were a blanket woven of silence and calm. Your breath is smooth, like silk sliding gently across your chest. With each exhale, you sink deeper into comfort, deeper into stillness. Our story drifts now into the realm of Victorian grooming accessories. The small tools and objects that made daily hygiene possible. Imagine a dressing table in a softly lit bedroom. Upon it rests a collection of items. A comb of polished bone, a bristle brush with a carved wooden handle, a mirror framed in silver, small scissors, and bottles of powders and oils. Each tool has its place, each one cared for with pride. Combs were used daily, not only to neaten the hair, but also to distribute natural oils. Picture the feel of a comb gliding gently along the scalp, the faint tug followed by release, repeated in soothing rhythm. The act was simple, but the sensation was grounding, almost meditative. Brushes were handled with care, their bristles cleaned regularly. Imagine dipping the brush in warm water, soap swirling in circles, then rinsing until it gleams again. The brush is dried near the fire, its handle warming slightly, waiting for its next use. Even the tools themselves were cherished, part of the rhythm of hygiene and calm. Mirrors held a special place. Though often smaller and cloudier than today's, they reflected faces and figures with intimacy. Imagine leaning close to a mirror in the glow of lamplight, watching your reflection soften as steam from a nearby basin rises, blurring edges until all that remains is a dreamy outline. Scissors and small knives trimmed nails, cut stray threads, and maintained neatness. Picture their faint metallic click, sharp but not harsh, a sound precise and steady, reassuring in its order. Each snip brought tidiness, each trim a sense of quiet completion. Powders and oils were stored in glass jars, corked tightly. Imagine the feel of lifting a small bottle, its weight cool in the hand, the faint rattle of liquid inside. A stopper is drawn out, and suddenly the scent of lavender rose, or sandalwood escapes, delicate and calming. A single drop is placed on the wrist, rubbed gently, leaving behind a lasting trace of fragrance. All these items, though small, were part of a greater ritual. They gave structure to the day, comfort to the body, and reassurance to the mind. Imagine yourself now, seated before such a table, surrounded by these tools. One by one they are used with patience and care, tending to you as though each moment were sacred. And as they are set back in their place, you feel whole, neat, and deeply at peace. Settle deeper now, as if your body has found the perfect angle against the bed, the perfect curve of comfort. Let your breath fall into its own rhythm, calm and steady, like ripples fading across a still pond. Our story drifts onward, into the world of bathing rituals in the Victorian era. Though full baths were not a daily occurrence for most, they were treasured experiences when they happened. Picture a large copper tub placed near the hearth in a bedroom or sitting room. Steam rises in soft curls, fogging the air with warmth. A kettle hisses gently nearby, pouring more hot water into the bath, keeping it pleasantly full. The sound of water lapping against the sides of the tub is gentle, hypnotic. Imagine dipping a hand into the water. Warmth envelops your skin, soothing tension instantly. The tub glows faintly with reflected firelight, turning the surface of the water into molten gold. Soaps were carefully chosen. Many were crafted from tallow or oils, their fragrances often infused with herbs. Imagine the scent of rosemary drifting upward, or lavender mingling with the steam, wrapping around you like a soft cloud. The soap is rubbed gently between the palms, foaming slowly, not thickly, but enough to cleanse with ease. Bathing was often done with purpose and rhythm. First, the face wiped with a cloth dipped in warm water. Then the arms lifted gracefully, water trickling back into the basin. The chest, the back, the legs, each part tended to with care, each touch slow, deliberate, unhurried. It was not a rush to finish, but a quiet ceremony of refreshment. Imagine the sound of cloth against skin, soft and repetitive, each stroke smoothing tension away. Drops of water fall back into the tub, a light tapping like rain on a quiet roof. The fire crackles gently in the background, holding the atmosphere in balance, warmth, water, and calm. After bathing, towels of thick cotton or linen were wrapped around the body. Picture the texture coarse, perhaps but reassuring. It absorbs the water, leaving skin fresh and tingling slightly from the heat. Hair is wrapped in another cloth, tied loosely, drops of water soaking into the fabric. Lotions and powders might follow. A dusting of fine starch powder across the skin, cooling and soft, leaves behind the faintest scent of roses. Or perhaps a dab of oil on the temples, massaged in with gentle circles, releasing both fragrance and ease. Bathing was not daily, but when it was done, it was an act of true care, a chance to feel light, pure, and unburdened. Imagine stepping from the bath, wrapped in warmth, sitting quietly by the fire while hair dries, each strand catching flickers of golden light. The air smells faintly of lavender, soap, and smoke. You are clean, refreshed, renewed, and deeply, deeply calm. Let yourself drift even deeper, as though each word is a step downward into stillness. Your body is heavier, looser, perfectly at rest, while your mind wanders through time, gently observing, never rushing, simply flowing. Our story carries us now into the quieter rituals of everyday hygiene in the Victorian household, the little acts that stitched together a sense of dignity and order. Imagine a lady at her vanity table, the morning sun slipping through lace curtains, creating a dappled glow across polished wood. She leans closer to a porcelain basin filled with fresh water, cooled overnight in a jug placed carefully nearby. With slow, graceful motions, she dips her cloth into the water and presses it against her face. The sensation is crisp, awakening yet calming. Each pass across the skin brings freshness, as though washing away not just dust, but also the heaviness of sleep. The water drips back into the bowl with delicate ripples, a gentle music of its own. Next comes the teeth. Though toothbrushes were simpler then, often made with bone or wood handles, bristles stiff and natural. A powder is sprinkled upon the brush, chalk, or crushed charcoal, mixed with herbs. Picture the soft grit upon the bristles, strange but cleansing. She brushes in small, careful strokes, her reflection watching silently. There is no rush, no electric hum, only the faint scrape of bristles and the minty aroma of leaves worked into the powder. Hair, too, was a daily ritual. Long and heavy, often it required patience. Imagine the sound of a brush, natural bristles sweeping steadily through thick strands. Each stroke is deliberate, slow, soothing. The rhythm is mesmerizing, a soft swish, then a faint tug, then release. Many Victorians believed in brushing hair 100 times a day, a way not just to groom but to polish, to stimulate, to settle the mind with repetition. Perfumes were used sparingly, but oils or pomades gave hair a subtle sheen. Imagine the faint fragrance of bergamot or rose, infused into each strand, the scent lingering as she moves quietly through her day. And now, picture the gentleman of the house, beginning his own morning ritual. His shaving set is carefully arranged, a straight razor, a small brush, a shallow bowl. He dips the brush into warm water, then swirls it in soap until thick lather forms, soft peaks rising like clouds. The sound is soft circular motions, bubbles forming gently. With steady hands, he spreads the foam across his cheeks, cool and fragrant. The razor glides with precision. Faint scrape, a whispering sound, the foam gathering along its edge. Each stroke clears the skin, leaving it smooth, fresh, alive. He rinses in the basin, water swirling, lather dissolving away. Then he pats his face with a cloth, feeling the brisk satisfaction of cleanliness, finishing with perhaps a dab of cologne. Subtle, sharp, refreshing. Every act, whether for man or woman, was more than hygiene. It was ritual, slow, purposeful, rooted in the rhythm of daily life, in a world where stillness was more common, where each simple gesture carried weight and meaning. And as you imagine these quiet routines, your own breath falls in rhythm, your body soothed, your mind quiet, content to rest in the flow of their timeless calm. Sink even deeper now, so your thoughts themselves are lying down, resting on soft pillows of calm. Each breath is smooth and effortless, each muscle slack and at ease. The more you imagine, the more your body responds, as if the story itself is carrying you into serenity. Our tale moves forward into the subject of clothing and how it connected to hygiene in Victorian times. Imagine, if you will, the ritual of changing garments. Linen underclothes were worn closest to the skin, and these were changed more often than the heavy outer layers. The reasoning was simple. Linen absorbed sweat and oils, keeping the outer garments fresher for longer. Picture a lady, gently peeling off her dress at the end of the day. The fabric rustles softly, falling away in folds, revealing the lighter, softer linen beneath. The shift is worn thin from repeated washing, the fibers softened against the skin. She sets the outer gown aside to be brushed, shaken, and aired. The underclothes, however, will be washed, scrubbed by hand, and laid out to dry. Washing linen itself was an act of patience. Picture the scene: a wooden tub steaming with hot water, soap suds rising thick and fragrant. A washboard leans against the side, and cloth is pressed, scrubbed, wrung, and rinsed. The repetitive motion is almost hypnotic. Water splashing, cloth slapping, bubbles fizzing softly. Each garment, though plain, holds importance, cared for with attention and rhythm. Outer garments, wool coats, silk gowns, or cotton dresses, were often not laundered as frequently. Instead, they were brushed with care. Imagine the soft whisper of a bristle brush sweeping along fabric, dust lifting away. A dress hung out in the open air, fresh breezes carrying away odors, sunlight touching the cloth lightly, purifying it with warmth. The smell of fresh air lingering in the folds became its own kind of cleanliness. Gentlemen, too, took care with their attire. Their woolen coats were brushed, their boots polished until they gleamed with deep reflections. Imagine the rhythmic circles of a cloth polishing leather, the wax warming under pressure, the scent rich and earthy. The brush strokes are firm but steady, a sound like faint rustling, restoring shine with each pass. For both men and women, gloves were an essential accessory. They not only signified refinement, but also served a practical purpose, keeping the hands clean when navigating city streets. Imagine sliding a glove off after a day's wear. The skin beneath is pale, protected, and far less exposed to dust and grime. Clothing, in many ways, became part of the hygiene system itself. The layers protected the body, shielded it from soot and dirt, and provided a buffer between skin and the outside world. Washing the closest layers, airing the outer garments, brushing, and polishing. These were daily or weekly rituals, rhythms of care that kept life ordered and respectable. As you imagine these soft sounds, fabric rustling, brushes whispering, water splashing, allow them to wash over you. Each sound is soothing, each action unhurried, each detail another step deeper into calmness. Like layers of linen and wool, your own comfort is layered now. Breath, body, mind, all wrapped in quiet peace. Breathe slowly now, in and out, letting the stillness spread further with each cycle. Your body is resting, your thoughts drifting, and the world of the Victorians continues to unfold gently, like pages turning slowly in a well-worn book. Let us move into the realm of washing hands and faces, a simple yet profound part of Victorian hygiene. Imagine a porcelain washstand in a quiet bedroom, the surface polished to a soft gleam. Upon it rests a jug and bowl set, decorated with delicate floral designs, faint roses and pale blues and greens. The jug is filled with cool water, drawn earlier from a pump. Picture the lady or gentleman dipping their hands into the basin. The water ripples, coolness spreading across the skin. Soap, often a block of carbolic or scented with herbs, rests on a small dish nearby. It is lifted, rubbed between the palms until suds rise, thin and frothy, with a faint squeak against the skin. The hands are washed slowly, fingers interlacing, palms pressing. Each motion is deliberate, not rushed. Sound is soft, water lapping, bubbles popping, cloths being wrung. Then the face, a cloth dipped, squeezed, and pressed gently to the skin. The coolness awakens, the dampness refreshing. The cloth is passed across the cheeks, the forehead beneath the chin. Not scrubbing harshly, but caressing, soothing. For a moment, the person lingers, eyes closed, feeling the water seep into tired skin, as though stress itself is rinsed away. Handkerchiefs, too, played a role in personal cleanliness. Imagine a small square of linen, folded neatly, carried in a pocket or reticule. When needed, it was pressed lightly to lips, or used to dab perspiration. Some were scented, a faint whiff of lavender or violet rising whenever unfolded. These little pieces of cloth were washed often, boiled, bleached by the sun, and ironed crisp again. They were both practical and comforting. Even nail care held its quiet rituals. Nails were not painted or polished brightly, as in later times, but they were trimmed, cleaned, and kept modestly neat. Picture a small metal file, worked gently across the edges, smoothing, shaping. Oh, the sound is faint, almost imperceptible. A whisper of friction. Hands rested afterwards, sometimes treated with a dab of oil to soften the skin. Imagine the quiet satisfaction of these routines. Hands, face, nails, small areas of focus, yet each tended to with patience. There was no rushing, no constant stream of distractions, only the moment itself. The feel of cool water, the fragrance of soap, the weight of cloth in hand. And as you imagine these small soothing acts, your body mirrors them. The sense of refreshment, the quiet, the rhythm of repetition. The Victorians lived within these rituals, and for a moment, so do you. Safe, clean, calm, and ready to drift deeper into the gentle quiet of rest. Rest a little more deeply now, as though your body has melted further into the mattress. Every muscle slack, every thought softened. The story flows on gently, carrying you like a quiet river, where each detail of the past becomes another ripple, leading you toward rest. Our journey takes us next into the world of public hygiene during the Victorian age, a time of great change and struggle. Imagine the city streets, bustling, alive with carriages, horses, vendors, and people hurrying along in thick coats and bonnets. Beneath the surface of this energy, though, lay challenges. Streets were often unpaved, lined with mud and dust, with waste scattered from daily life. The air carried the mingling of coal smoke, damp earth, and the faint scent of soap from nearby laundries. Public baths became havens of cleanliness. Picture stepping inside one. The sound of echoing footsteps on stone floors. The scent of steam heavy in the air. The low murmur of voices blending into a hum. Large pools of warm water stretched before visitors, or smaller private tubs tucked behind screens. The water shimmered in the light, its surface broken now and then by gentle ripples. Here, those who could not bathe at home found comfort. Imagine lowering yourself into the warm pool, the heat wrapping around your body like a soft blanket. Muscles loosen, tension drifts away, and for a time the worries of crowded tenements and smoky air dissolve. The water laps gently against stone, the sound rhythmic, calming. There were also wash houses where laundry could be scrubbed and boiled, bringing relief to families without space or means. Picture rows of women bent over steaming tubs, their arms moving with steady rhythm. Soap bubbles rise into the air, catching light, while the scent of lye mingles with the damp warmth. Outside, the cleaned linens are hung on long lines, fluttering in the breeze, glowing white in the sun. A sense of renewal fills the air. Public fountains, too, became symbols of hygiene and hope. Fresh water, clean and flowing, was something many took for granted, but in the Victorian age, it was treasured. Imagine the steady stream pouring from a carved stone spout, splashing into a basin below. Children laugh, cupping their hands to drink, while buckets are filled and carried back to homes. The sound of constant trickling becomes a background lullaby, steady, endless, reassuring. These public efforts were born out of necessity, yet they became rituals of community. Bathing, washing, gathering water, they were shared experiences, woven into the fabric of daily life. Each act was not only about cleanliness, but about dignity, health, and a quiet sense of belonging. And as you picture these scenes, the warm pools, the bubbling wash houses, the trickling fountains, you too feel their calm rhythm seep into your body. Your breath is steady, your mind soothed, and like the Victorians who sought renewal in these spaces, you are finding your own renewal now, in rest, in quiet, in peace. Let your breath grow slower still, in through the nose, out through the lips. Each cycle carrying you deeper into ease, deeper into comfort. The story holds you now like a soft blanket of words wrapped around your imagination. Let us wander into the quieter corners of Victorian hygiene, perfumes, powders, and the delicate art of masking the natural scents of daily life. In a time when full baths were less frequent, fragrance became both a luxury and a necessity. Imagine a lady at her dressing table, bottles and jars spread before her. Tiny crystal vials, their stoppers jeweled or cut into fine shapes, catch the morning light. Within them are perfumes: rosewater, violet, bergamot, jasmine. The scents are subtle, not overwhelming, drifting like whispers into the air. She dabs a drop onto her wrists, another at the base of her throat, the fragrance blooming softly with her warmth. Powders, too, were common. Picture a round box of pressed powder, the lid painted with delicate flowers. Inside lies a puff, soft as down. She dips it, taps lightly, and then presses it against her skin. A faint dust rises, cooling, smoothing, leaving behind the faint aroma of roses or lavender. The sensation is feather-light, almost tickling, like the brush of a petal against the cheek. Gentlemen also embrace their own scents. I'd imagine a small bottle of cologne, sharp citrus, spiced with cloves or cedarwood. A splash upon the hands rubbed briskly across the face after shaving sends a burst of freshness through the air. The sting awakens, the fragrance lingers, and with it comes the sense of refinement. But beyond perfumes, the Victorians often turned to natural remedies for freshness. Sachets of dried lavender or rose petals were tucked into drawers, leaving garments faintly perfumed. Handkerchiefs were scented with drops of essential oils. Ready to be pressed against the nose while walking through crowded, smoky streets, imagine unfolding such a cloth, the aroma rising like a shield, calming, soothing. Even hair was perfumed. Combs dipped in fragrant oils would glide through long strands, leaving them shining and subtly scented. The brush strokes themselves became a ritual, slow, repetitive, hypnotic. Each passed through the hair, accompanied by the release of fragrance, blending with the faint scent of wood smoke or polished furniture in the room. For the Victorians, these acts of scenting were not indulgences alone. They were a way of weaving beauty into ordinary life, of softening the harshness of coal smoke, crowded streets, and unwashed wool. Fragrance became a layer of protection, a veil of comfort. As you picture these delicate rituals, powders floating like mist, oils glistening faintly, perfumes blooming gently, allow their imagined aromas to drift around you now. Lavender, rose, cedar, jasmine. Soft clouds of calm, settling over your body and mind. Each breath draws you deeper into their soothing embrace, easing you closer to rest, closer to dream. Drift more deeply now, your breathing soft and measured, your body heavy with ease, your mind floating gently as though held by invisible hands of calm. Each image, each word, carries you further into serenity. Our story now lingers upon the subject of Victorian dental hygiene, a practice that was evolving. Sometimes imperfect, but always guided by ritual and care. Picture a small wooden box resting on a washstand. Inside lies a toothbrush with a carved handle of bone or wood, its bristles stiff, often made from natural fibers. It is lifted gently, dipped into a dish of powder. The powder is pale, fine, and fragrant. Chalk, perhaps, or a mixture of crushed charcoal, baking soda, and peppermint leaves. The brush is tapped once, sending a tiny puff of dust into the air, and then brought to the mouth. The sensation is gritty, unusual compared to the smooth pastes we know today. But to the Victorians, it was cleansing, refreshing. Picture the slow, careful motions, bristles sweeping across the teeth, scraping softly. The taste is sharp, earthy, with a hint of mint from crushed herbs. There is no rush, no electric hum, only the quiet rhythm of hand against tooth, the faint squeak of brush, the powder dissolving. Others, less fortunate, might have relied on simple rinses. A glass of salt water swirled in the mouth, or vinegar mixed with herbs, cleansing not only the teeth but also refreshing the breath. Imagine the sharp temps upon the tongue, the sudden clarity it brings before it is spat away into the basin with a splash. For some, twigs or cloths were used, rubbed gently along the teeth and gums, wiping away the day's film. The ritual may have been simple, but the repetition was soothing, reassuring, connecting one day to the next with a small act of care. Dentists, though not yet as advanced, offered powders and potions for whitening the teeth, for strengthening gums, for sweetening breath. Picture a small glass jar with a cork stopper, labeled in looping handwriting. Inside lies a fragrant mixture: cloves, cinnamon, or myrrh, ground fine, releasing spice with every use. And imagine, too, the finishing touch: A rinse of rose water or mint, swirled slowly, filling the mouth with freshness. The scent rises through the nose, cool and floral, leaving the breath clean and light. These rituals, though humble, held great meaning. They were acts of self-respect, of refinement, of daily rhythm. In a world where appearances mattered greatly, tending to the smile was as important as tending to one's clothes or hair. And as you picture these slow, careful routines, the brushstrokes, the powders, the fragrant rinses, allow them to soothe you. Each motion is steady, calm, unhurried. Each sound is soft, delicate, comforting. Your breath is fresher, your body lighter, your spirit soothed, as though you, too, have partaken in this quiet Victorian ritual, leaving you calm, clean, and ready for rest. Breathe slowly, gently, as though the air itself is rocking you into stillness. Each inhale is light, each exhale longer, melting tension from your body. You are safe, cocooned and calm, as we step further into the intimate world of Victorian hygiene. Tonight, our tale drifts toward the care of hair and scalp, an essential part of daily grooming. Imagine a Victorian woman seated at her vanity, a large mirror reflecting the glow of candlelight. Before her rests a hairbrush with a carved wooden handle and soft, natural bristles. Her hair is long, heavy, flowing past her shoulders in dark waves. Slowly, patiently, she begins to brush, one stroke, then another. The bristles sweep from crown to tip, smoothing tangles, releasing a soft swish with every pass. Each stroke shines the hair, distributes natural oils, and soothes her mind. Many believed 100 strokes each day would bring health and beauty, so she continues, steady, rhythmic, almost meditative. The sound fills the room, swish, 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 like gentle wind through tall grass. Imagine yourself hearing it, steady and repetitive, lulling you deeper into rest. To keep hair fresh, oils were often used. Picture a small glass vial filled with rosemary oil or a blend of almond and bergamot. A drop or two is warmed between the palms, then smoothed gently into the scalp. Fingers massage in circles, slow and deliberate, releasing fragrance into the air. The sensation is calming, almost hypnotic, a ritual of care that nourishes both body and spirit. For men, grooming often included pomades or waxes, combed carefully through shorter styles. Picture a gentleman dipping his fingers into a tin of fragrant pomade, spreading it evenly before running a comb through his hair. The comb glides with precision, leaving every strand in place, shining, scented faintly of sandalwood. Washing hair was not frequent. Instead, dry shampoos made of powders, starch, orris root, even crushed herbs, were sprinkled at the roots and brushed through. Imagine the soft dust falling like snow, light and fragrant, soaking oils, freshening without water. With each brushstroke, the powder disappears, leaving the hair light, clean, and fragrant once more. Hair care extended to coverings too. Bonnets, hats, and caps shielded hair from soot and dust in the streets. At night, many wore light caps to keep hair neat and free of tangles. Picture the soft fabric tied gently at the chin, cradling the hair in comfort as sleep approached. And always, there was pride in presentation. Whether it was a woman arranging elaborate curls with pins and ribbons, or a man smoothing his mustache with wax, these small acts were threads in the fabric of dignity. You imagine the brushing, the oils, the fragrant powders. Let them soothe you now. Each stroke is like a wave washing through your thoughts. Each fragrance a calming cloud drifting around you. Hair, scalp, and spirit tended with patience, leaving you, like them, serene, refreshed, and ready to dream. Settle once more. Deeper and deeper, like a soft blanket being tucked gently around your body. The rhythm of your breath is calm, slow, steady. The images we weave together soothe you more and more, carrying you along with the quiet flow of the story. Our path now drifts toward the world of Victorian nighttime hygiene, the rituals that came before rest, small gestures that prepared body and spirit for sleep. Imagine a quiet bedroom. The fire burns low, its embers glowing orange, shadows dancing on the walls. A jug of fresh water stands ready on the washstand, beside the porcelain basin. A lady or gentleman takes a soft cloth, dips it lightly, and presses it to the face. The coolness refreshes, easing away the day's dust. The cloth is moved gently across the cheeks, the brow beneath the eyes, almost like a caress. The sensation is simple but soothing, as if the day itself is being rinsed away. Next, the teeth. The brush is lifted once more, dipped into powder, and worked carefully across the mouth. The sound is faint, a soft scraping, rhythmic and steady. Powder dissolves, leaving a clean, sharp taste, refreshing before slumber. Rinse of rose water or mint completes the ritual, cool and fragrant, filling the breath with lightness. Hands are washed last, dipped into the basin, rubbed with soap, rinsed clean. The scent of lavender rises from the cloth used to dry them, a faint perfume to linger as sleep approaches. Clothing, too, played a role in hygiene. The outer layers removed, the heavy wool and cotton folded carefully aside. In their place came lighter night clothes. Linen or cotton, simple, soft, airy. Imagine the feel of fabric against the skin, cool at first, then warming as the body settles beneath the covers. Hair is brushed again, slower this time, fewer strokes, just enough to smooth and soothe. For women, long hair is braided loosely to prevent tangles. For men, a final smoothing of the mustache or beard, perhaps with a touch of oil, before lying down. Each act is deliberate, each one an exhale of the day. The bed itself was part of the ritual. Sheets aired earlier in the day are crisp and clean, faintly scented from sunlight. Pillows are plumped, blankets tucked in snugly. The faint rustle of fabric accompanies each movement. The sound as comforting as the feel. Finally, the candle is snuffed out. Darkness settles, broken only by the last glow of the fire. The room falls silent, save for the faint ticking of a clock, marking time slowly, steadily. And in that stillness, the body relaxes, clean, cared for, ready for slumber. Rushing, brushing, preparing, were more than tasks. They were the bridge between waking and sleeping, the gentle path that carried one into dreams. As you imagine them now, you too are walking that path. Calm, soothed, wrapped in stillness, already drifting toward the peaceful night. Sink further now, deeper into comfort, deeper into quiet. The air is soft around you, carrying warmth and peace, as if the story itself has become a blanket laid over your body. Your breath is slow, gentle, steady, guiding you into rest. Tonight, let us step into the world of Victorian fragrances and perfumes. Not only luxuries, but part of the daily rituals of hygiene and self-presentation. Imagine the delicate clink of glass bottles, the gleam of cut crystal catching firelight, each vessel filled with scented waters and oils. For women, perfumes were crafted with flowers, roses, violets, lilies, lavender. Imagine the soft petals gathered at dawn, pressed, distilled, their fragrance captured in oils. A single drop, dabbed upon a wrist, behind an ear, or upon the lace of a handkerchief, would release gentle waves of scent throughout the day. Men, too, embraced fragrance. Colognes made with citrus, bergamot, rosemary, or sandalwood were common. Picture a gentleman pouring a small amount into his palm, patting it along his neck. The coolness refreshing, the scent clean and sharp, carrying an aura of dignity. Not all perfumes were strong. Some preferred floral waters, lighter, airy, delicate. Rose water, lavender water, and orange blossom water were splashed upon the skin after washing, leaving a faint trace of fragrance. Imagine the cool droplets upon your face and neck, tiny kisses of freshness that fade slowly, leaving calm behind. Perfume was not only for the body. Linen and clothing, too, were often scented. Sachets filled with dried lavender or orris root were tucked into drawers, leaving garments faintly perfumed. Picture opening a drawer and being greeted with the scent of summer fields carried gently into winter nights. Bed sheets sometimes carried these fragrances as well, creating a cocoon of calm for sleep. There was also the ritual of scented handkerchiefs. Imagine fine linen embroidered with initials, lightly sprayed with perfume. When pressed to the lips or waved gently in the air, a soft fragrance surrounded the owner, both a signature and a shield against unpleasant smells of the city. For special occasions, perfumes grew more elaborate. Rich blends of jasmine, amber, musk, or patchouli were chosen, heavy and mysterious, suited to candlelit evenings and grand gatherings. The fragrance lingered long after the wearer had gone, like a whisper in the air. Fragrance in the Victorian home was everywhere, in pomades for the hair, in soaps by the basin, in oils for the skin, in sachets tucked into wardrobes. Imagine living within that cloud, not heavy but delicate. Each room carrying a subtle scent, each ritual accompanied by fragrance. And now, as you breathe slowly, imagine these scents drifting around you. Lavender to calm, rose to soothe, citrus to refresh, sandalwood to steady. Each breath carries one note, then another, weaving together like music, wrapping you in invisible threads of comfort. As the Victorians once did, you are surrounded by fragrance, cared for, cradled, and lulled into serenity. Drifting, sinking, ready for dreams. Settle again, dear listener. Deeper and deeper into comfort. Each breath is a gentle tide, moving in, moving out, carrying away any last bit of tension. The body grows heavy, the mind grows light, and sleep draws closer with every word. Our story now drifts into the Victorian world of sleep aids and remedies, ways in which men and women sought rest after long days of work, study, or household labor. Imagine the flicker of a candle as the evening draws to a close, shadows stretching across wallpaper, the hearth crackling softly, the scent of wood smoke mingling with the hush of night. For many, a warm drink was the beginning of rest. Some sipped herbal infusions, chamomile, valerian, or hops steeped in hot water. The steam rose like a cloud, carrying calming scents, soothing restless minds. Picture yourself cupping a porcelain mug, warmth seeping into your hands, fragrance of herbs wrapping around you like a shawl. Others turned to warm milk with nutmeg, believed to quiet nerves and soften the body into sleep. The flavor was mild, the ritual comforting, a gentle act repeated nightly, signaling to the body that rest had arrived. There were remedies too. Tinctures and tonics found in apothecary jars. Some contained ingredients we now know as powerful sedatives, but then they were seen as simple aids. Laudanum drops in warm water, spoonful of soothing syrup, a draft of herbal bitters. Imagine the glass bottle, corked, with its label written in careful script, resting on a shelf of remedies, part of the household's quiet store. For those sensitive to sound, rooms were softened with heavy drapes and thick rugs, muting footsteps and voices. Imagine the silence, deep and profound, broken only by the faint ticking of a clock or the soft wind against window panes. Sleep was also aided by bedtime rituals. Cool basin wash for the face and hands, brushing out the hair slowly, one stroke after another, the rhythm itself becoming hypnotic. The bed prepared with warming pans on cold nights, filling the sheets with gentle heat. Then the act of slipping between linens, scented with lavender, sinking into pillows stuffed with feathers or horsehair, adjusting until the body found stillness. For children, mothers sometimes told bedtime stories or sang lullabies. Imagine the low hum of a voice in the dark, words blending into melody, rocking the little ones into dreams. That sound, soft and steady, was as much a remedy as any herb or tonic. And so, the Victorians drifted into rest, not so differently from you now, guided by small rituals, simple comforts, soft sounds, and fragrant air. As you breathe, imagine yourself lying in such a bed, candlelight fading, the world slowing, your body heavy, your mind light. The remedies are not needed here. Only peace, only quiet, only the steady rhythm of your breath, carrying you further into rest. Now, dear listener, let your body melt deeper into stillness, your limbs loose, your mind calm, as though the story itself is tucking you into a quiet cocoon. With every breath, you drift a little closer to sleep, and yet gently you remain with me, floating in the soft glow of imagination. Our story today glides forward into the Victorian morning rituals of hygiene, the gentle ways a new day began. Imagine the faint light of dawn seeping through lace curtains, a gray-blue haze settling upon quiet streets, the sound of carriage wheels faint in the distance. Before breakfast, the first task for many was a wash. Few homes had full plumbing, so basins and pitchers of water were the companions of morning. Picture a porcelain pitcher, decorated with painted flowers, filled the night before and left upon a washstand. A basin rests beside it, gleaming faintly in the light. The water is cool, almost bracing as it splashes over the face, clearing the last shadows of sleep. For men, the ritual of shaving often followed. A small mirror propped upon the stand, a brush dipped into soap, lather worked into a froth. Imagine the soft swish of the brush against the skin, the gleam of a razor, steady strokes across the cheek. The scent of soap mingles with the faint fragrance of cologne to come, a crisp beginning to the day. Women tended their hair, often long and heavy. Picture a brush with a carved wooden handle, bristles moving slowly, rhythmically, through dark or golden strands. The motion was soothing, almost meditative, drawing natural oils down the length of the hair, keeping it healthy and shining. A mirror reflected the slow progress, the quiet dignity of self-care. Teeth, too, received attention. Tooth powders, sometimes made from chalk, charcoal, or even crushed shells, were sprinkled upon brushes of bone or wood. Imagine the faint scratch, the clean mineral taste. The effort to preserve freshness in a world without modern conveniences. Once these personal rituals were complete, fragrances came next. A splash of rose water upon the face, a dab of lavender upon a handkerchief, the faint whisper of scent lingering in the air. Clothes were chosen, often carefully laid out the night before, pressed and brushed free of dust. Even in homes without luxury, there was pride in beginning the day clean and composed. The basin emptied, pitchers refilled, brushes set neatly back in their place. These little acts, washing, brushing, dressing, were more than habits. They were small ceremonies, preparing mind and body to meet the world. And as you imagine these rituals, feel the rhythm of them soothing you too. The splash of water, the sweep of a brush, coolness of air upon freshly washed skin. All soft, all steady, all calming, guiding you like them into a day. Or for you, into a deeper rest. Let yourself drift now, even more deeply into comfort. The story continues, but your body grows heavier, your breath slower, as though each word carries you closer to the still waters of sleep. You need only listen, gently, and float. This part of our tale wanders into the weekly cleaning and household hygiene practices of Victorian life. Imagine the rhythm of a week unfolding inside a modest home, each day carrying its duties, each task a ritual of care. On wash day, usually Monday, the house filled with the scent of soap and steam. Picture a large copper pot of water, heated over the fire, rising in clouds. Clothes, linens, and undergarments were scrubbed by hand with lye soap, rinsed and wrung out. The creak of wooden washboards echoed as women worked steadily, sleeves rolled, arms strong. Outside, on lines or racks, damp cloths swayed in the breeze, releasing the fresh scent of clean cotton into the air. The following days often carried other tasks. Tuesday might bring ironing, with heavy irons heated upon the stove. Imagine the careful press, the slow glide across linen, the hiss of heat smoothing creases. Each garment, each sheet returned to order beneath steady hands. Midweek, the house itself was scoured, floors scrubbed with sand or soap, rugs beaten outside to release dust, windows polished with vinegar. Imagine sunlight streaming through clean panes, motes of dust swirling like tiny stars before settling once again. Furniture was wiped with oils or beeswax, wood gleaming, the air filled with a faint sweetness. Saturday often brought personal attention, baths taken, hair washed, clothing laid out for Sunday. Though full baths were rare, many families cherished this weekly ritual, a time of cleansing before rest and worship. Imagine the tub being filled, buckets of hot water carried one by one, steam rising, a space of warmth in a cool home. Soap lathered upon skin, rinsed away with ladles of water, leaving the body refreshed, prepared for another week. Even in the wealthiest homes, where servants performed these tasks, the rhythm remained. Wash day, ironing day, cleaning day, bath day. Life moved with these cycles, binding together hygiene, order, and routine. The week itself was a kind of tide, washing through the household, clearing and refreshing, before receding again. Now, as you listen, imagine the quiet after these labors. Fresh sheets upon the bed, clean clothes folded neatly, the faint scent of lavender or starch in the air. The house itself feels lighter, calmer, as though it too has been washed of its weariness. That peace, that sense of order is yours as well. With each breath you feel cleansed, renewed, ready to drift further into the soft embrace of rest. Breathe softly now. Each inhalation like a wave that carries calm inward, each exhalation a wave that lets go of tension. You are safe here, warm and quiet, wrapped in the rhythm of the story. Our tale drifts gently into the public bathhouses and shared hygiene spaces of Victorian society. Imagine the bustling streets of a growing city. Soot in the air, crowds at every corner, narrow alleys alive with footsteps and voices. Many homes, especially for the working classes, lacked proper facilities for bathing, so public bathhouses became havens of cleanliness. Picture the tall brick building, steam rising from its roof vents, a steady hum of activity inside. Step through its doors, and you are met with the faint scent of soap and damp stone. Attendants move quietly, guiding visitors to rooms where warm water waits. Some bathhouses were simple, rows of wooden tubs filled and emptied by hand. Others were grander, with tiled floors, marble basins, and iron pipes carrying hot water into steaming pools. For many, the weekly visit was a cherished ritual. Men, women, and children alike arrived with towels folded under their arms, seeking refreshment after days of labor. Imagine the sound of splashing water, the low murmur of voices, the comfort of warmth on tired skin. The contrast between the cool air outside and the enveloping steam inside was like stepping into another world, one of softness and relief. In some places, there were Russian-style steam rooms or Turkish baths, inspired by traditions abroad. Picture the thick fog of steam wrapping around bodies, loosening muscles, clearing lungs, and softening the mind into calm. Visitors would sweat, then rinse in cold water, feeling invigorated, renewed. The bathhouse was not only about the body, it was also a social space. Workers exchanged stories of the week, friends met and lingered, and even the simple act of being among others carried its own comfort. Hygiene here was communal, woven into the fabric of daily life. Imagine leaving such a place. Hair damp, skin warm, clothes clean upon your body. The walk home feels lighter, the city air easier to breathe, the world around you somehow more bearable after the ritual of cleansing. And so, in Victorian times, these spaces were more than buildings. They were sanctuaries. Sanctuaries where the body found relief, the mind found clarity, and the spirit felt restored. As you rest now, let that feeling of renewal wash over you too, as though you have stepped out of the bathhouse yourself. Fresh, calm, softened, and ready to drift into dreams. Rest easy now. Each word is soft and steady, guiding you deeper into calm. Body feels heavy, the breath light, and you are gently floating in the quiet of the story. Our tale now wanders into the streets of Victorian cities, where hygiene and cleanliness were far from simple. Imagine cobblestone roads stretching out beneath gas lamps, carriages rattling by, and crowds moving through the haze of smoke and soot. Life was vibrant, but the streets carried their own challenges, the very air thick with dust, coal, and odors, when shopkeepers swept before their doors. Dust rose into the air, mingling with the scent of bread from nearby bakeries, the temps of smoke from chimneys, and less pleasant smells too, the refuse of animals, the waste of overcrowded neighborhoods. Horses, the lifeblood of transportation, left their traces everywhere. Carts often splashed mud and filth across clothing and shoes. City officials struggled to keep up. Sweeps cleared gutters, water carts dampened the streets to hold down dust, and men in heavy coats carried long brushes to scrub where they could. Still, cleanliness was a constant battle. Imagine the sound of scraping brooms, the splash of water from a pail, the rhythmic labor of those trying to tame the city's chaos. In poorer districts, waste disposal was rudimentary. Buckets from homes were emptied into cesspools or gutters, spreading smells that lingered in the summer heat. Children played in alleys where the air was heavy. Mothers carried water from pumps that were not always safe. The struggle to remain clean in such conditions was daily, constant, never-ending. Yet there were moments of brightness. Public parks opened, offering clean paths and fresh air. Fountains stood in squares, their water gleaming in sunlight, symbols of order and hope. Street vendors sold lavender posies or sprigs of herbs, meant to mask unpleasant odors. Little bundles of fragrance carried in hand or tucked into coat pockets. Imagine walking those streets yourself, the press of humanity around you, the rattle of wheels, the call of vendors. And then imagine turning a corner into a quieter square, where trees rustle gently, leaves shimmering in the light. The air feels cleaner here, touched by green, touched by hope. For Victorians, urban hygiene was a struggle between disorder and renewal, between filth and cleanliness. Yet within it all, there was resilience. Small rituals of care, a sweep of the broom, a sprig of lavender, a walk into the park. And as you drift deeper now, you too can let go of the clutter, the noise, the dust of the day. You are stepping into the quiet square, where the air is pure, the ground is clean, and rest waits softly for you. Breathe in softly now. Feel the air fill your chest, cool and gentle. And breathe out slowly, letting the body sink deeper into comfort. The story flows on, steady and calm, carrying you further into rest. Our path now turns toward Victorian dental care and oral hygiene, a subject both curious and revealing of daily life. Imagine a world without the modern toothbrush as you know it, where care of the teeth was simple, sometimes harsh, but always a part of personal ritual. Toothbrushes did exist, their handles often made from bone or wood, bristles cut from animal hair. Picture one such brush, plain and sturdy, resting upon a washstand beside a small tin or jar of tooth powder. These powders were common, created from chalk, crushed shells, or baking soda. Sometimes they were flavored with peppermint or clove, giving a faint freshness to the mouth. Imagine dipping the bristles lightly into the powder, then brushing carefully, the texture gritty but cleansing. For those who could not afford brushes, a simple cloth or even a finger was used, rubbed with powder or salt to scrub away food and stains. It was not pleasant, but it was practical. A quiet ritual performed in the dim light of early morning or late evening. Mouthwashes were made at home, often with vinegar or herbs steeped in water. Imagine a rinse of mint or sage, sharp yet refreshing, swirled gently before being spit into a basin. The taste lingers, earthy and strong, leaving behind a sense of cleanliness. But for many, dental troubles were common. Tooth decay, gum disease, and abscesses plagued the population, worsened by limited understanding of proper care. Dentists existed, though their tools were simple and their remedies sometimes painful. Picture a polished brass chair in a small surgery, instruments laid out upon a tray. Forceps, mirrors, drills turned by hand. Extractions were frequent, for fillings and crowns were rare luxuries. And yet there was also gentleness. Some relied on herbal remedies. Cloves pressed against aching teeth, peppermint oil dabbed onto sore gums, chamomile rinses to soothe pain. These small acts of comfort carried families through times when professional care was too costly or too distant. Despite the hardships, people valued clean teeth. A bright smile was linked with health, and even in modest homes, some effort was made to preserve freshness and dignity. Imagine the glow of lamplight as a mother guides her children to clean their teeth before bed, each dipping a brush or cloth into a small pot of powder, the scent of mint rising faintly in the air. And as you picture this, feel the simplicity of the ritual. The brush, the powder, the rinse. Gentle, repetitive, calming, almost hypnotic. A daily act of care, then, just as now. One more step toward health, one more step toward rest. And as you drift further, you may feel that same sense of quiet routine wrapping around you. A rhythm of care, soft and steady, guiding you into dreams. Sink a little deeper now, into calm, into stillness. Your body is heavy, like a feather settling upon soft ground. Your mind is light, like a cloud drifting across a quiet sky. And the story, gentle and steady, carries you further into peace. Let us wander now into the realm of Victorian hair care and hygiene rituals. Imagine a bedroom lit by the golden glow of an oil lamp, its light glimmering across polished wood and porcelain. On the dressing table rests a brush with a carved handle, its bristles gleaming faintly. Beside it, bottles of oils and pomades, jars of powders, and combs of varying sizes. Each part of a ritual repeated day after day. Hair was a source of pride in the Victorian era, worn long and carefully maintained. For women, brushing was both necessity and meditation. Imagine a mother seated before a mirror, drawing the brush slowly through her hair, one stroke after another. The bristles whisper through the strands, releasing a faint shine. 100 strokes a day, it was said, kept the hair healthy and strong. The rhythm of it was soothing, as though each sweep carried away the burdens of the day. Oils were sometimes applied, almond, castor, or rosemary, massaged gently into the scalp to nourish roots. Picture the fragrance rising, herbal and sweet, fingers moving in small circles across the head, the motion both practical and relaxing. Hair powders, too, were used to freshen and absorb oils when washing was rare, leaving hair lightened and scented. Men kept their hair shorter, often oiled or pomaded to sit neatly in place. Imagine the cool dab of pomade smoothed along the strands, the sheen it gave under lamplight, the scent subtle but present. Lavender, bay rum, or sandalwood. Beards and mustaches, fashionable at many times, required trimming and oiling. Combs drawn patiently through, keeping every line neat. Washing hair was less frequent than in modern times. Warm water and soap were used sparingly, often once a week or less. Imagine the basin filled, a cloth soaked and wrung, water poured slowly over the scalp. Soap lathered, rinsed, and the hair left to dry in the warmth of the hearth. The scent of soap lingered faintly, mingling with the natural fragrance of oils and herbs. Hair was also adorned. Ribbons and pins for women, simple partings or pomaded styles for men. Each morning's preparation was a small ceremony, each evening's brushing a gentle act of closure. Families often helped one another, mothers brushing daughters' hair, wives smoothing their husbands' beards, children learning by watching. And as you imagine these rituals, feel the calm of their rhythm, the brush, the comb, the oil, the steady strokes. Each movement slow, each sound soft, each touch soothing, ritual of care, of pride, of comfort. One that now wraps gently around you, helping your mind untangle, smoothing away the day, preparing you for dreams. Breathe deeply now. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Soft, unhurried, steady. With each breath, your body grows heavier, calmer, while your mind drifts, light and free, carried on the quiet current of the story. Tonight, our journey moves into the world of Victorian skincare and cosmetics. Subtle arts of daily hygiene and presentation. Imagine a dressing table once again, but this time its surface glimmers with small jars of cream, tins of powder, bottles of tinctures, and brushes with ivory handles. Each object has its place, each part of a ritual designed not only to cleanse, but to protect and beautify, where women, pale and clear skin was prized. To achieve this, lotions and washes were carefully prepared. Some used rose water or elderflower water to soften the complexion. Cooling drops splashed upon the cheeks and forehead. Picture the cool liquid upon warm skin, leaving behind a faint fragrance of blossoms, soothing both face and spirit. Creams made from beeswax, almond oil, or lanolin were massaged gently into the skin, protecting it from the dry air of heated rooms and the soot of city streets. Imagine the fingertips moving in small circles, the cream slowly absorbed, leaving the skin supple, touched with a glow. Powders were used as well, often rice powder or zinc oxide, dusted lightly across the face to create the pale, matte finish considered elegant. Picture the soft brush gliding over the skin, the powder settling like a veil, fine and delicate. Sometimes a hint of rouge was added to the cheeks, or a drop of carmine for the lips, though natural beauty was often praised more than heavy artifice. Men, too, cared for their skin, though in simpler ways. Shaving required aftercare. Alum stones or witch hazel splashed upon the face to soothe and disinfect. Imagine the sharp sting, then the calming cool, leaving the skin refreshed. Oils were rubbed into beards, creams smoothed over, hands weathered by work. Even without vanity, there was dignity in such care. For both men and women, baths or basin washes were followed by skin tonics, many herbal in origin. Vinegar diluted in water, or infusions of chamomile and rosemary, were believed to purify. Picture a cloth dipped in warm liquid, pressed gently against the skin. The warmth opening pores, the scent calming the senses. Cosmetics, when worn, were subtle by modern standards. The aim was not to change the face, but to soften it, refresh it, and preserve an image of health. The rituals themselves, however, carried their own comfort. Each motion, dipping a cloth, smoothing a cream, brushing a powder, was slow, repetitive, almost hypnotic, an anchor to calm amidst the busy day. And as you imagine these gentle acts, you too feel soothed. Your skin, in your mind's eye, is tended with soft cloths and fragrant waters. You are brushed, pampered, and cared for, each step lulling you deeper, smoothing you into quiet. till you are ready for dreams. Relax even deeper now. Every breath softens you more fully. With your eyes closed, your body feels lighter, as though you are being tucked under the gentle rhythm of the story. Our journey now shifts to Victorian clothing hygiene. The care of garments, the quiet rituals of laundering and freshening fabrics in a time before modern conveniences. Imagine, if you will, the gentle swish of linen skirts and crisp shirts, the rustle of starched collars, the whisper of lace gloves and cotton underthings. Clothing was precious, far more than today. Each piece was sewn with effort, tailored with detail, and worn with respect. To keep it clean and fresh was a daily act of devotion. Picture the laundry room in a great house, a high-ceilinged space with steam rising, tubs of hot water prepared, and bars of soap shaved into flakes. The smell of lye and lavender mingled in the air, sharp yet comforting. Laundresses bent over large wooden tubs, plunging linens up and down into the suds, their motions rhythmic, almost like a chant. The fabric was scrubbed against wooden boards, rinsed in fresh water, then wrung out with practiced hands. Imagine the sound of water dripping, the soft slap of wet cloth folded into baskets, the squeak of pulleys as garments were hung high in drying rooms. White fabrics, like shirts, collars, and undergarments, were often boiled in great copper pots to restore brightness. Picture the steam rising, carrying the clean, mineral smell of hot cotton. The garments, when lifted, looked weightless in the vapor, like sails of tiny ships. More delicate garments, silks, lace, and fine wool, required gentler treatment. They were sponged with soft cloths, brushed carefully to remove dust, or pressed between sheets of tissue to preserve their shape. Some women placed sachets of lavender, rose petals, or orris root within drawers so that when gowns were lifted, they released a faint, soothing fragrance. Starching was another step. Collars, cuffs, and petticoats dipped into solutions that stiffened fabric, making them crisp and neat. Imagine the sound of irons being heated on stoves, then lifted and pressed firmly onto cloth, smoothing wrinkles with a faint hiss. The heat set the starch, leaving garments sharp and fresh, ready to be worn again. Between full washes, clothing was often brushed daily to remove soot or crumbs. Picture a valet or maid, standing quietly with a soft brush, stroking along the grain of a coat or gown, flicking away specks of dust. Shoes were polished until they gleamed, gloves were washed with care, and bonnets were reshaped with steam. All these quiet labors gave garments a second life, stretching them across years, even decades. The rhythm of washing, brushing, pressing, each step was deliberate, steady, almost meditative. Imagine yourself watching the process, lulled by the sound of cloth being smoothed, water sloshing, brushes sweeping in steady strokes. And with each image, you too are smoothed and refreshed, as though your own being is carefully laundered. With every stroke, every press, you are eased into tranquility, made lighter and cleaner in your mind, prepared for rest, prepared for dreams. Breathe slowly now, each inhale soft, each exhale longer, letting your body melt deeper into comfort. The story flows gently around you, like a warm, quiet stream, guiding you further into relaxation. Tonight we linger on Victorian oral hygiene, a small but significant part of daily life, full of rhythm, scent, and simple care. Imagine the morning light filtering through lace curtains, a washstand set neatly with a basin, a brush, and a small jar of powder. Tooth powders were common in Victorian households. Often made from chalk, crushed shells, or even charcoal, they were used to scrub teeth, clean, and keep breath fresh. Some contained hints of peppermint, clove, or cinnamon, fragrances meant to soothe and invigorate simultaneously. Picture dipping a brush into the powder, tapping off the excess, and brushing slowly, carefully, each stroke gentle yet purposeful. For those without brushes, soft cloths were used. Imagine wrapping a bit of linen around a finger, rubbing in powder or salt, feeling the grainy texture against teeth, the fresh aroma filling the air. It was not always pleasant, but it was effective, a small ritual performed with care. Rinsing followed, some used warm water, others vinegar diluted with herbs or mint-infused liquids. Picture the cool rinse swirling in the mouth, washing away particles, leaving behind a sharp, clean taste. The sound of the water swishing softly in the basin, the faint splash as it was spat out, all created a rhythm that became almost meditative. Special remedies were sometimes sought for issues of the gums or toothaches. Cloves pressed gently to aching areas, herbal infusions rinsed slowly, chamomile or sage applied with care. Each act a quiet attempt to soothe, to care, to maintain a sense of dignity and well-being. Children learned these habits early. Picture a mother or older sibling guiding small hands, demonstrating how to brush and rinse. The air filled with the faint scent of powders, herbs, and mint, the slow rhythm comforting and reassuring. And yet, even with limited means, the Victorians valued cleanliness in the mouth. A fresh mouth signified health, refinement, and attention to daily care. Imagine the small satisfaction of a clean mouth. The gentle brushing, the cool rinse, the faint scent of peppermint, all tiny acts that added up to a sense of pride and well-being. As you picture these rituals now, imagine them soothing you. Each motion is slow and deliberate, each sound soft and comforting. Your mind drifts with the rhythm of brushing, rinsing, and care. Your body grows heavier, your thoughts quieter. You're clean, cared for, and calm. And you drift closer to dreams, carried by the gentle, steady wave of routine. Now, let yourself sink fully into comfort. Every breath slower, deeper, more relaxed. The world around you fades, replaced by the soft glow of memory and imagination. You are safe, calm, and held in stillness, ready to drift gently into dreams. Our story reaches its gentle conclusion as we reflect on Victorian hygiene and the quiet rituals that shaped daily life. From the careful brushing of hair to the cleansing of hands and face, from scented waters to powder-dusted linens, the Victorians embraced routines that bound care, comfort, and calm together. Imagine a quiet morning in a modest home. Sunlight filters through curtains, dust motes dancing in the air. A mother guides her children through washing and brushing. The scent of lavender, rosemary, or mint lingers softly. Outside, the city hums faintly, but inside, there is rhythm, there is order, there is calm. Picture a woman brushing her hair slowly, counting each stroke as if it were a whisper of time itself. A man applies a small dab of pomade to his mustache, smoothing it into place, the movement both practical and soothing. Tooth powders are used, rinses performed, hands and face cleansed with gentle care. Even garments washed and ironed, folded neatly, carry the comfort of order and routine. The air is filled with subtle scents, roses, lavender, soaps, herbs, each note weaving into the atmosphere a quiet symphony of calm. Household chores are performed with mindfulness, the swish of a brush, the splash of water, the soft rustle of folded linens. All sounds that anchor the day, and now anchor your mind into tranquility. Bathhouses, public and private, offered moments of refreshment, a reprieve from the city's dust and soot. The heat, the water, the steam, all washing away weariness. Even in the crowded streets, Victorians found ways to carry freshness. From scented handkerchiefs to weekly laundry routines, from hair powders to perfumed linens. And so, as you lie here, you too may feel the comfort of these rituals. Every imagined brushstroke, every gentle splash of water, every hint of fragrance wraps around you like a soft cloak. The world outside may be noisy, hurried, and demanding. But here in the quiet of your mind, there is only rhythm, care, and calm. Your body grows heavier, your thoughts grow lighter. Each detail of care, each Victorian ritual, drifts through your imagination and settles around you like a protective, soothing presence. You are refreshed, tended to, soothed, and safe. Now, in this gentle cocoon of sound, scent, and imagery, let the final embers of the story lull you fully. Drift away into dreams, carrying with you the quiet dignity, the care, and the calm of a world that moved slowly, purposefully, and gently. A world that teaches us that even in simplicity, there is comfort, and in care, there is peace. Sleep now, deeply, calmly, peacefully. Good night.